We could be filming something in Thailand and then rent scooters and get pulled over by the police, and the police are chasing us down. The police are drop kicking some of us off scooters, and we go to Indonesian jail pert near. Like, are you kidding? Like, craziness, dude. Like craziness.
That's right. We got a 2-banger for you this week. The Bassmaster Elite Series is back in your life. So is Jake's Take, the ultimate behind-the-scenes Bassmaster show with Bassmaster videographer Jake Latendresse. But that's not all. Then we are joined by YouTuber, podcaster, fishing freak, and friend of the show, Sam Soie. Both of them join me this week. I'm
Bob Cobb from the Bassmaster. Welcome to Mercer.
Welcome one, welcome all, friends, family, freeloaders, fishing freaks, and of course you, my humpers. Happy hump day to all of you, and welcome into the Awkwardly Honest Fishing Podcast that goes by my last name, which is Mercer. This is the 249th edition of the Mercer Podcast, and hope wherever you're watching or listening from, that life is treating you well. Not sure what that was, just sometimes some of the voices in my head actually come out my mouth, and that's what you just saw. I made it home from Guntersville. What an awesome event. But I made it home just in time to get you guys a podcast. And God willing, as you watch this, I am back in the air, heading back to Alabama for the second stop of the Elite Series. And this one is on Lake Martin. We have an incredible show for you here this week. I mean, the Elite Series is back. So, of course, Jake's Take is back with Jake Latendresse. He was in the boat with Hank Cherry, so he has some interesting nuggets that you're not going to want to miss. And as if that's not enough, then we are joined by a show that, a guest that I am very excited to have on here, and that is YouTuber, podcaster, fishing bizarro, Sam Soie. You do not want to miss any of this. If there was any negative about this show, it's that, it's a little long. So, break it up into different bits if you need be, but I'm not going to make it longer by pontificating about a bunch of stuff. Let's just jump right into it right now with Jake's Take. Jake's Take, back in your life. And I don't think there's any questions, Jake. The freaking hardest working people this past weekend on Guntersville, were the camera folks. I mean, dude, I would have freaking quit.
I almost did. About 7:30 Thursday morning. I was like, dude, what are we even doing? It was so cold. That was the coldest event that I can ever remember doing as a camera guy in 15 years. This is my 15th year, by the way.
Congrats.
Thank you. I don't ever remember being that cold.
Are you warm yet?
I am now, but I've been home for 2 days. I've been in the warmth of Colorado for 2 days.
It was cold. I mean, we've been, I guess 2015 Classic was colder the morning of takeoff, but the water temperature wasn't what it was on Guntersville. I mean, you had water temperature in the 30s. I mean, in low 30s in pre-fish. Mm-hmm. It was that deal in 2015. It was warm leading up, and it got warm during the event. It never really got warm. And I don't know about you, but I've been on Guntersville when they are literally on fire. I was more impressed with Guntersville this time around than I've ever been, just because they're catching them in that cold water.
It definitely taught us a lot and showed us that these guys can catch them no matter what. I mean, if they had to break through ice and catch them, then that's what they had to do. And it was impressive. I mean, it was impressive all the way around. They had to deal with ice in their guides. They had to deal with ice on their reels, on their lines. I mean, I think Hank and Bryant Smith, who I had on day one and day two, they cut their lines a couple times just casting and lost their lures. Bzzz, gone to ice. So, they had variables that they had to deal with, and aside just from the weather itself, just things that were a little bit unexpected for them. And, you could see some frustration at times, and other times when they were catching them, it was really satisfying. And I kept hearing, regardless of whose boat I was in all 4 days, the one common denominator that I heard everyone saying was, I can't believe we're catching them in 38-degree water.
You kicked it off with Hank on day one, but unfortunately after day one, he was in 64th place. So to see what he did on Sunday, pretty impressive. But what changed? Like, did the fish change or did he change?
Nope. So we went down to Guntersville, and it was the same area that Stetson was fishing in. Bryant Smith was down there. There were a number of people that were down there doing well, and I think there was so much floating eelgrass, and he didn't have his grub. Everyone knows he caught it on an 1/8 ounce jig head and a Mr. Twister grub.
No, he was on Sunday. He was throwing half 3/16 ounce jig heads.
Heavy, yeah. So that's what I'm saying. On day one, I think he was throwing a lighter jig head, and he didn't have the flutter. He was feathering it into the grass on day 2, day 3, and day 4. But he stuck to his guns because he kept telling me, he's like, Jake, like, I'm telling you, like, before takeoff, when I got in Hank's boat, he said, this is the first time in a really long time that I feel like I'm on something that could win this tournament. He knew the potential of this area. So he went down there with a boatload of confidence. And when we got there weren't as many birds. It just wasn't as active. The bait fish weren't around like they were during practice, so things had changed. But he went up shallow. He went deeper. He followed the loons out in next to the channel. He went around the islands. He changed directions and changed the angles of his casts. And he got bit, but they just weren't the big ones that he was counting on. So I think he sacked up like 16 plus pounds on day one, and he was disappointed, but I could still tell in his soul, he's like, I'm coming back here tomorrow because I know what's down here. And I know in this, with the weather that we're experiencing, these fish didn't just pack up and move. I just have to find him and figure out how to crack this code. And apparently on day 2 and day 3 and day 4, he cracked it, especially day 4.
How shocked? I mean, it's so rare that we actually see something different, and not that it's different. I mean, that's something that's been around for a very, very long time. But it is different to see a guy swimming a grub on the Bassmaster Elite Series. Did you leave that day thinking, oh, Hank's on something different that could win this event? Or I mean, I guess the grub didn't seem as impressive for 16 pounds. No,
he put it up, and he went to his trusty old jerkbait, just trying to locate fish. He started throwing his trap around. He was bomb casting, trying to figure out if they were on top of the grass, on the top edge, on the bottom edge, down in the troughs, in the deeper water, in the channels, and the funnels. He was doing everything that he could to try. I think his thought was, I have to find this school of fish. They have moved a little bit on me. I just don't know where they are, so I just have to locate them. And once I locate where they are, then I can start to fine-tune things. And one of the interesting things that I found with all the anglers that I was with, this is one of those tournaments where I was actually with 4 different anglers, a different guy on each day. And one of the most common things that they all did, even though they were all fishing somewhat differently, at least by location or style and their cadence with their baits or whatever it was, one of the common things that I heard was that they didn't, none of the fish were potted up in big groups.
Yeah.
They were looking for individual fish, and it was like the frequency of catches were one every 45 minutes to one every hour and a half. So, they were literally counting on either 5 bites, probably no more than 10 or 12 bites, other than a few people that caught quite a few from what I understand, but it wasn't fast and furious. And I think what Hank ended up doing was he told me after day 2 or the morning of day 3, after day 2, he came by the camera trailer and he looked at me and he goes, "Dude, I don't even know what to tell you. It was the same exact spots. Everything that we did on day 1, I did again on day 2, and I don't know what to say. They just showed up, and what did he catch? 22 pounds on day 2?
Yeah, I'm not sure in day 2, dude. I mean, I weighed in 101 anglers. Oh, let me just what the hell?
Yeah, it was like, I think he caught 16 plus 22 and then 20 and then 27-11, something like that.
I can tell you the 27-11.
Yeah, that was insane.
Holy
man.
crap. I mean, I get a good rep for having a decent memory of guys' stats. What Hank Cherry weighing on day 2?
What were his ounces?
Yeah, I mean, he obviously figured it out. And the day it just got better, and you'd say, okay, well, things stabled out, but it didn't really. I mean, it was cold overnight. He just obviously figured it out. It's kind of unique to look at it from that perspective, though. Like a guy who's in 64th place and eventually wins the tournament, and it just shows you how. And nobody's out of any event. Like you're right, especially an event like this. Like I will say this stood out to me. The first thing I noticed with a 50-50 schedule. Okay, so this is the first event with no forward-facing sonar. And here's the first thing I noticed. People have bad days. And when you have bad days, it's much easier to move in events. We go up north and you talk about how it is to make points. It's very hard because very few people don't catch them to a certain extent. We had people who had bad days. I can't remember an event where I had as many people weighing in, 2 fish, 3 fish, it was one of those events. But I think that we underestimate how much that adds to the event. People having bad days, and not that Hanks was his weakest day, but he far from a bad day. But what I'm saying is the ability to move from 64th up to eventually winning.
Sure.
There were 63 people in between him and that. And
he had to climb and other people had to fall for that to accomplish itself. Well, I think, one of the nuggets that I took away from this event at Guntersville, it being a non-forward facing sonar tournament, is that I'm going to say this out loud. You can take away the forward facing sonar, but you can't take away the knowledge that they've learned from front facing sonar.
Yeah.
And I say that because I asked every one of them. I asked Hank Cherry, I asked Bryant Smith, I asked Hunter Shryock, and I asked Trey McKinney. Do you have more confidence now fishing these locations, knowing, going back into your Rolodex, your forward-facing sonar Rolodex, knowing that in all likelihood, every time you cast, 75% of the time, there's a fish following your bait. They're just not eating it. And every single one of them said yes. And so there's now a different factor in fishing without forward-facing sonar, and that is the knowledge that we've all been talking about for 3, 4, 5 years now, that the things that they have learned were new things with front-facing sonar, and you can't take that away from them now. So they fish harder. Look what Jamie Hartman was doing.
Yeah.
I mean, I found that to be fascinating, and I was locked into that as the camera guy and as an astute student to the game, just because I love to fish. I'm not at their level, so every time we go out, I learn something new, and that was probably the most the most vivid thing that I took away from that tournament is how their mindset is different now, because they have more confidence that there's fish following their baits. They just got to figure out how to make them eat, not being able to see them.
I think that all depends on how you decipher it in your head, because I do think that there was some folks that this got in their head. Just the ability, knowing that, like, there was, I mean, this would have been a totally different tournament if it was forward facing sonar. I'd go as far as to say we would have had multiple century belts, and maybe the top 10 all with century belts. Like that's how much of a difference it makes especially with these conditions this time of year. But I think for some people, knowing that jacked with them, like some of the guys who struggled in this event, just knowing that, I mean, I know how to catch them. I'm just not allowed to do it here this week. And I, they're over there. They're right here. I can't do it. I mean, it's the equivalent of taking away anybody's, what's an athlete that has something they're synonymous with? Steph Curry. Like if you said to Steph Curry, you can't throw the three.
I was going to say, take away the 3-pointer.
Take away the three from
Steph Curry, then he's just a normal basketball player, right?
Well, yeah, but how frustrating would that be for him to play? How frustrating would it be for him to step back and be like, I'm open. I got
Or what
this.
if he just thinks, he's either going to think, I'm going to take, I'm going to make 5 more what would have been 3-pointers, or I'm going to drive closer to the basket, or I'm going to dish it off more, right?
Yeah.
It changes the game depending on your mindset. And I agree with that. It just happens to be that all 4 guys that I was in the boat with, and, what would you say? Trey McKinney obviously is a live scoper. Bryant Smith
poster child for it.
Yeah, he is the live scoper.
I went through. Here's my numbers, and you you can debate this. I went through the top 50, and in my head, and I just went through and said, okay, this is what I would classify as a scoper. That's all up to determination. Sure. Everybody can scope. If you go through the list, everybody can scope.
They've all used it, yeah.
Yeah, but in the top 50, I saw 10 to 12 scopers. So definitely this wasn't a strong event for a lot of the young scopers. I mean, we had the poster boy for scoping, Trey McKinney, who made the top 10. And we also had probably the spokesperson for scoping, Dakota Bear, inside the top 10. But if you go through that list, it wasn't a big week for the scopers. I mean, this is one event. Give them time.
Yeah.
And vice versa. We've seen the traditional anglers have to adjust too.
How many of those guys didn't make the cut?
Oh,
I'm just saying. It's hard to actually debate it. You can look up the numbers and create your own database and start keeping up with it the whole year. But at the end of the day, in my opinion, it's just fishing, and the law of averages sort of balanced itself out, because there were just as many traditionalists in that tournament that didn't make the Saturday cut.
Yeah. Well, that's the wonderful thing about the internet. There will be people who will be like,
yeah, we don't have to do that.
It's guaranteed that these guys struggled. It's guaranteed that these guys, I mean, here's what I like about the 50-50. And I feel like I like it even more after one event, because I'm like, all right, now you got a bunch of scopers who are going to be going to Martin. And guess what? They got to show up, because they got more pressure on them now. They got to dig out of a hole. And I think it's going to be very interesting. We're going to learn stuff, and that's why they did it the way they did it.
I think that's the beauty of it. What you just said right there is the beauty of this format now, is that we're going to learn more. And I mean, what more can you ask for, unless you're an angler and you either win money or you don't win money, and that's their goal as professional anglers. But at the end of the day, we all learn something new. And I mean, to me, to debate it is just I mean, it's just a dog chasing his own tail.
It's also what 50-50 is going to do. But I will say this.
It is.
I feel after one event that 50-50 is going to make more people debate it. But I also feel like it's going to make guys respect the other side a little more.
I agree 100%. You know, one of the things that I've seen on social media since the moment the hoopla around Hank Cherry's win kind of went away was I have seen, which I haven't seen in a long time, a lot of people commenting on different pages, whether it's an angler page, a brand page, or my page, or whoever's page it's on social media. One of the things that I've been seeing a lot is that was one of the best tournaments I've watched in a long time. And I thought that was fascinating that there were that many people watching it and there were that many people engaged in it. And, you know, I think it's much more than just the fact that they weren't looking down at their screens, because they still are. I mean, they're using 2D imaging, they're using their
360
mapping, and they're using 360 to literally code what was going on, and then they use their imagination based on their knowledge from forward-facing sonar to put it all together underwater, right? So they've got live scope going on in their heads now. And so, you know, whether it was that or not, it was cool to me because, and they're still looking down. And I remember, you know, on day 2 being in Bryant Smith's boat and even considering what I'd experienced with Hank Cherry on day 1, you know, I'm sitting there thinking to myself, how can this be any more exciting than live scoping? Because they're literally fan casting, and it's not a ton. There's not a lot of variation or variance between the two things that they were doing, I don't think, other than the fact they're going, okay, here he comes. Oh, he got it. You know, and they're using bait casters versus spinning rods. I just didn't see a lot of difference in excitement.
I would say that's in the eye of the beholder. I mean, literally,
it is.
Because
it has to be.
On paper, their backs turned to the camera. They're still fishing. Now they're, you know, I heard somebody say, well, I tuned in and there was 4 guys throwing a vibrating jig. What's the difference? Yeah, but we also saw, I will say the thing that stood out to me covering it is, and I never thought about forward-facing sonar like this, but forward-facing sonar in some ways mutes the subtle adjustments in fishing. It mutes them. Like it gives you a lot of information, but that mutes the change. Hank Cherry's a prime example. You saw the grub. You saw the bait that won the tournament on day 1, but it wasn't quite firing yet. He had to make adjustments and he had to make subtle changes. And those subtle changes we saw. I mean, Hunter, I'm mixing up my days, but I think one day he crossed the stage. He says, I haven't thrown a bladed jig yet. I'm going to throw it a lot tomorrow. And I believe that was maybe the day you were with them on day 3. But you're seeing guys changing different baits. You're seeing guys. So I will say that some of those subtle adjustments came back.
I agree.
I think if you're going to hate forward-facing sonar, you can find a way to hate all of this. If you're going to, but I think if you're looking at it with clear eyes, the two are different, and we're seeing it. You know what I mean? We're seeing it play. And I'm a guy who respects both. I respect the people who are good with forward-facing sonar. I respect the people. Here's the weird thing that happened this weekend. Jamie Hartman, Stetson Blaylock, and Jeff Gustafson. 3 people who I know that shook a minnow. I mean, Jamie and Stetson were a little shallower, doing it kind of a traditional way. Gussie was back to using his superpower 2D, kind of just over the moping.
He's just the master at that, yeah.
But people respected it. People were like, look, like, when's the last time shaking a minnow got any respect from anyone online? Nobody. Because they just look at it as it's forward facing and kind of everyone can do it. This gave a little bit more respect on some of those techniques. All of the techniques, I would think. Do you think, as the camera guy on the back deck, do you think angler reactions were any different?
You mean on a bite?
Yeah.
Yes. Because they can't see it, they had to feel it. And they all had a different description in how they described the bite. Trey McKinney's word is slap. So he's out on this long sandbar or grass bar, and it had a mix of eelgrass and hydrilla. The hydrilla, as most fishermen know, is much harder than the eelgrass, right? So it's like feathers. Like let's use a bird as an example. The wings are feathery. That's the eelgrass, and the back of the bird is the hydrilla, the hard part. So they were looking more for he was looking more for the hard surface hydrilla to run his baits over the top of, because he couldn't stay out of the eelgrass, which was floating, and he was getting snagged up all the time because he was throwing a trap or a jerk bait. And so he narrowed his location and his waypoints down to these harder spots. And then when a fish would hit it in 38-degree water, it's not your traditional wham, 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 wham. Even though these fish were way more aggressive than most of these anglers thought they were going to be, the way they bit and ate their bait. I mean, they were choking these baits, right? You rarely saw them on the side of their mouth or on the lips. I mean, these rattle traps and jerk baits were getting choked. And I'm sure Hank had the same deal with that grub. I bet they were just freaking choking that thing, right? And so they were eating aggressively, but the bite felt different. So Trey called it a slap. And so what he was doing was he was throwing a rattle trap over the top of these hard bottom areas where the hydrilla was. Then he would feel that slap on his rattle trap. He would immediately reel it in, set it down, grab his jerk bait, and start jerking over the top of that same area. And 7 out of 10 times, he caught the fish that slapped his bait. Either he caught the fish that bit his bait or slapped it, or he caught a fish out of a small pod of fish that were hanging out in that area. So, like you said, they made the adjustments to catch fish, and it was really fascinating how they detailed their adjustments and what they learned, and what they were. I mean, they were paying. They always do, but man, they paid really, really close attention to the little details and how the fish were biting to understand how to catch the fish and make them eat, if not that bait, this other bait. And because the three main baits were either like small square bills, crankbaits, jerk baits at different depths, or rattle traps of some sort, of lipless crankbaits of some sort. And they were using all of them. And I saw Trey catch fish on day 4 on all 3 of the baits that he was throwing. But most of the time, they either came on the most fish he caught came on the jerk bait after he located them. And then once he got through and he thought, well, I've caught 2 or 3 out of this pod, then he would throw that little square bill in there and maybe catch another one in 10 or 12 more casts. So that's how he slowly climbed, added to his sack on day 4 each day. He just kept catching, he wasn't upgrading by pounds. He was upgrading by half pounds or quarter pounds.
Yeah. He said something on stage on day 4, and I had been thinking that throughout the entire tournament. But to hear him verbalize it made it, stand out. Once you hear somebody loses their sight, they get more sensation in their hands. Somebody loses, you know what I mean? When you lose one sense, you gain another.
Correct.
That stood out to me. Trey said on stage how he could feel fish tracking his bait. And I mean, that's part of fishing, has been for years, where you're throwing a crankbait and you can feel a fish behind it. Like you can feel the crankbait getting interrupted behind it because it's moving near it. Spinnerbait happens a lot of times too. Nobody's been paying attention to that for the last number of years because you know what? The goblin on the screen overrides all that. I don't have to be as in touch with my bait to feel that movement behind it if I know that there's one behind it, if I see that there's one behind it, like I'm thinking of all the times in my life where I felt a fish behind a spinnerbait. Not one of those times was when I was in shallow water and I could see a fish coming, because your senses change. And I think, again, that's why we're doing 50-50. That was proved. All of a sudden, we took their eyes under the water away from them, their forward-facing eyes. And now you got Trey McKinney, who is a master with that, and he's focusing on a fish moving behind their bait.
Today's high-tech fishing world can be a real pain in the neck, especially if you're running the wrong mount. Beatdown Outdoors, they bring the graph to you. And they support this podcast and care enough about you to make this a short ad read. Check out Beatdown Outdoors. Now back to the show.
That was so key. And he mentioned that in the boat as well. He just talked about he actually wasn't feeling the bait. He was watching his rod tip, and when he was cranking his trap in, his rod tip would stop fluttering, and that's when he knew it was a fish. He would reel it in, set it down, throw a jerkbait right on the same exact spot, and catch a freaking fish. I mean, it was fascinating. I love being in his boat. I actually, I chose to be, because Hank bombed with me on day one. Bryant Smith bombed with me on day two, and Hunter didn't have a great day on day three. I was like, you know what? Hank is in position. I'm not going to go jinx his boat. And I actually chose to be in Trey's boat on day 4. So
you think you were a jinx?
I felt like I was. I honestly did. I can honestly tell you that is exactly how I felt. And Trey had nothing to lose. He came in, he slipped into 10th place after day 3. And I felt like I like being in the boat with Trey anyway, because I get to be in the boat with a kid and there's some entertainment value to that. And B, he's so good at what he does. I knew that he was going to be determined to at least move up 2 or 3 spots. And he did, or I think he moved up 1 spot, but I let Hank have it. I let Cody Prather be the cameraman in Hank's boat on day 4.
You're welcome, Hank. He could have destroyed your entire week.
You're welcome, Hank.
So Trey McKinney not only can catch fish without forward-facing sonar, he can catch fish when the jinx of Jake is in the boat.
He did, man. He's always even keeled. He doesn't get nervous. He doesn't get rattled. It just seems like he's so even keeled, and it's almost like I know he cares, but he's got that, you know what? I don't care. I'm just going fishing attitude, and that's it behooves him to feel his mindset to be that way, because he just uses his knowledge and I enjoyed day 4. I enjoyed all the days. I'd never been with Bryant Smith before, so that was great guy. Yeah. Oh my goodness, what a gentleman that human being is.
Just wish he would change his name. After day 1, Bryant Smith and Brian Schmidt were 1 or 2 and 3, and I was crapping my pants because no matter how
everyone was.
I mean, they cross-thread my brain, like, and they're evil. Like, they weigh in together all the time. They're in the same flights. Maybe it's just because their names just
No, dude. When the director, whether it was Middleton or Breedlove or whoever was calling the shots, be like, okay, we're going to Brian Schmidt live. And I'll be like, wait, who? Which one? And Hunter Shryock is, I have to say, what a great guy he is. He is awesome. A lot of fun to be with. And I gotta say this. This was probably the funniest thing that happened in the 4 days. So Hunter was catching them in dead lily pads, right? He caught them on
stems.
Yeah, on day 2 in the lily stems on a chatterbait, and he caught a couple, but the bite wasn't as frequent as he needed it to be on day 3. So we moved out to the main lake near the river channel on this long grass bar that he had found. And so he's fishing it, and it's kind of a long drift, and he's just fan casting over the top of it. And there's another boat with 2 guys in it up near the shore. Throwing Alabama rigs. And one of them, when they get perpendicular to us, the guy on the front of the trolling motor turns around and stands up and he goes, "Hey, Stetson, good luck. I hope you win." and Hunter goes, he looks at me and he goes, "Stetson?" Like he was just like, the guy's got me confused with Stetson. And I looked down and go, well, at least he didn't say Porosnik. Oh my goodness. We got a big laugh out of that. That was pretty funny.
Hunter's a great dude. Hey, he's another guy I had name phobia with, but I'm cured his. I used to always, like when he first showed up, I was always worried I was going to call him Fletcher because but I feel now it's Hunter. Like if Fletcher makes it back to the Elite Series, I'll probably have phobia with him that I'll call him Hunter.
Goodness.
But great dudes. So what stood out with all 4 of them? Like what's your takeaway from this week?
Their mindset and, how they visualize things underwater differently. I mean, that was the biggest takeaway. They all were thinking differently, but they were thinking the same way, if that makes sense. They all have a different visualization and a little bit more confidence of what's going on underwater because of their experience with forward-facing sonar now. So, and you're never going to take that. You could ban it forever now, and they're always going to have that knowledge and that presence in their mindset when they go out. And I just think it makes them feel more confident in some of their spots, because how many times have they pulled up their trolling motor and taken off and get into a bad rotation because they're just not biting here, or that my fish left. Now they're like, I know there's fish following. And then every now and then, you'd see one follow all the way up to the boat or bite one right under the boat and them not see it until that happens. And they're like, their cadence changes because they're about to reel it up and recast again, and boom, the fish is there. And their knowledge is like, where'd that fish come from? Their knowledge is that fish followed from my cast, from the beginning of the cast all the way back to the boat. I changed cadences and it bit. So the next cast, their cadence is a little bit different, and it refines their techniques until they find a pattern, and then they get on it and just start catching fish. This has to be one of the greatest games on the planet. I mean, this is just, it's just one of the coolest things, especially if you're an outdoorsman, to go out and watch these guys do what they do and experience it. Because they're really good at what they do. They're very smart human beings, and they're all athletic. They all figure things out and put the puzzle together. And when someone like Hank, pulls out an old school technique or an old school bait that's been around for as long as any of us that are living can remember, to win a tournament like that on Guntersville of all places, in the conditions that everyone was facing, to me was just it couldn't have worked out any better. And I'm super happy for Hank Cherry. He finally won a blue trophy. You could see it in his family's tears and the emotions that they shared on stage
on his birthday.
On his freaking birthday. He told me that I asked him on Thursday. I said, "How old are you, Hank?" He goes, "Well, I turned 52 on Sunday." And that he's 52, right?
Yeah.
He said, "I turned 52 on Sunday," and I was like, "Well, happy birthday, man. I hope you win."
Well, he did. And I guess for me, it's weird because we've spent a whole off season of chatter and talking and opinions and whatever. The other thing that stood out to me that I like is Listen, you got people who hate it. I mean, there's a guy in the comments that I made a comment last week on the show and said, hey, well, if you hate forward facing sonar, you should be happy this week. You got what you wanted. And somebody responded and, hey, everybody's entitled to their own opinion. He said, I'm not happy. I won't be happy till Bass abolishes it. And to me, you got to take what you can. Like, to me, this is similar to racing. You have, if you look at racing, you have ovals and you have road courses, and they're two. You're still driving a car. You're still steering a wheel. You're still putting your foot on the pedal. But there's people who are great at road courses and they get respect. There's people who are great at ovals and they get respect. And when it's really special, there's somebody who's a threat in all of them.
Yes.
And that's what we're going to see this year. That's what we're going to see. And nobody knows what the future of forward-facing sonar is in competition, whether you want it, don't want it. But, man, respect what we're seeing in front of us.
All of it.
Yeah.
I totally agree 100%. I mean, God, I can't, agree with half the people and disagree with the other half of the people. I'm just like, it is what it is. And why not absorb the knowledge that you gain from all this and understand that this is a pivotal point in tournament bass fishing history, and just be glad that you're here for it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how I see it. I couldn't agree with you more, man. It's just, to me, it's fascinating. Well, we've learned so much in the past 5 years. I mean, I go back to I can't remember every day that I've been on the water with every angler, but there's some days that stand out where Taku catches a 6-pound spotted bass next to a stump, on his front facing sonar, and the way Killia was catching them at Toledo Bend. And then, you look at what Hank just did on Guntersville, and you put all this together, and it's just this wealth of knowledge that has come together with old school and new school, and you mash it all together, and you've got this unbelievably entertaining game now that's changed, and there's nothing old about it. It's all new and it's all in front of us. And if people would just embrace it and understand that change is inevitable, what does the old quote say? What the only constant in life is change. And when you look at it that way and you embrace it, then maybe you'll catch on to it and either learn something or at least enjoy the entertainment value of what somebody else has learned.
Yeah. No, and bottom line, at the end of this year, do you think we're going to learn more? Yes. Do you think the angler that wins Angler of the Year is going to be tested more? Yes. I mean, as long as those are the way the questions are being answered, the things are going the right way. And I get it. There's people who say, well, the weights would have been so much better. Yes, they would have been, but we wouldn't have learned about the grub. We wouldn't have learned some of the things that we learned. We wouldn't have had the opportunity. Do you think Trey McKinney made some fans this week? I would hope so. If you pin that kid as just a forward-facing sonar trick pony, guess what? He proved that he's so much more than that. Like so we're getting answers.
I was just thinking they're going to have to move on to someone else.
No, they'll find someone.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
I just don't like them, though. That's what. That's what we'll get.
Exactly.
You said the only thing you can guarantee on is change, and some changes made at Bass this year, which I loved, and a lot of the fans gave us great feedback on. We got individual cameras. You're being replaced, Jake, by a box on the back of a camera.
I saw that coming 10 years ago, bro.
ChatGPT will be on stage before you know it, too. So we have individual cameras with anglers that
I don't know how
there was
that
only
went.
4 of them. There was only 4 of them this year. So this week, ultimately there's going to be 5 of them. I think this coming weekend. If not, I mean, it's a moving ball, but there's going to be 5 of them plus angler cams, meaning anglers that were already streaming. I don't want to get in the middle of that debate. Wherever you lay on that is
Here we go again.
It's just another debate. I mean, I see both sides of it. I understand why the anglers are frustrated, but I also understand how TV companies don't, you do a distribution deal and we deal with it with our own show. So I see both sides of it. But the happy medium between Bass and the anglers was that the anglers that are streaming are, they were able to pick up their feed and have it on Bassmaster.com, have it on the live show, have it on YouTube, on its own exclusive channel. So this week we had 4. It looked good. It looked good.
I didn't get to see it because I'm behind the camera and I'm only behind one camera, so I never get to see live. I was very curious as to how that worked out and how it looked.
It looked good. I mean, I think the one that was with Ike went in the drink. Shocker.
Oh my goodness, really?
But it looked good. I mean, I will tell you the one thing that you get with those cameras that you do not get with a manned camera is you get some interactions from the water. I mean, there was a little bit of a dust up between Mullins and Kyle Patrick.
Really?
And because you don't have a person with a camera, you get to hear it all and see it all. So that was.
Were there a lot of bleeps?
Well, nobody's controlling that. So I didn't hear any beeps. Let's not get into beeps. I'm getting roasted for that still. Thanks a lot, Jake. So that was cool, but moving forward, there's going to be 8 of those, I guess. So, yeah, there'll be 8, at minimum of 8 of those. 5 of them from Bass, those 3 other anglers, Aldane, Kyle Patrick, and Logan Parks, who are all streaming, and there might be more added, but we're going to have 5 of those. You'll be able to choose through. They're going to cycle through. You can go to Bassmaster.com, and if you just want to watch the Aldane feed all day, you go to Bassmaster.com and there's a link directly to that and vice versa. So fans seem to like that. It amazed me. I seen all sorts of pictures on social media of people watching the live show and then having a browser with all different things open. So it was really cool to see that.
Well, I can tell you what that does for the camera trailer, guys, is that actually gives us a break because we're not doing what they call the live where we what was it they would cut to when we were doing
live mix?
Live
it's been
mix.
changed. Well, now we have that. Well, that good timing. That comes up to live cast, which I had a blast doing with Kyle Jesse, and it's going to be. And again, going through it, you start to realize like what it's going to be. Basically, it's there because it's a secondary feed for people that don't have FS1, so you can watch it on Bassmaster.com. So you can, and on Sundays you can watch it on. This past Sunday they had it on YouTube. Let's hope that that's the deal moving forward because we had a lot of fun in the chat with some of those folks. But it, we got the actual feed now. Like with live mix and live cast, we kind of had a secondary feed in the past, so we had to talk a lot. And trust me, I don't want to talk. The best day that I can have is when I'm like, and now over to so-and-so, and now back to so-and-so. That's all I want to, I mean, I just want to watch it. But the cool thing is that we're going to be able to do in live cast. I mean, it's literally me and Kyle Jesse watching the tournament, which we do anyways, while we're breaking it down with some of the best bass anglers in the world. And we're going to dig deeper into techniques and stuff like that. And it should be its own kind of educational piece, but it was a lot of fun because we got to see the actual action. And there was some chatter where people were like, well, why do we need the 3 guys down the side? We don't, but we do. If you want that actual feed, because there's a Fox TV rights and we have to change it. So that's how we change it, by putting the 3 of us down the side. And trust me, I tried to shut up as much as possible. And I will continue to try and shut up as much as possible.
It's kind of like Peyton and
Manning
Eli's
cast.
show. Yeah.
Yes.
It's
same
very,
idea.
very similar to that.
A tenth the budget. or talent.
Talent budget. Camera guys still get paid the same. Talent budget.
But I for its first, we had some technical hiccups. There was times where we couldn't really see and stuff like that, and we were blind. We did it by braille, but it was really fun. So I would say, all in all, it was a great kickoff for an event that, let's be honest, could have gone so wrong. I mean, if you look at those pre-fish pictures of this much ice in the water, Jason Christie, we had dinner with him on Saturday night, and he said 33 degrees he found in pre-fish. Like, that's you normally have to drill a hole to fish in water that temperature. So,
yeah.
But all in all, I would say it was an amazing kickoff. Lots of momentum going into Martin next week. And you're not going to be there.
I'm not. I'm missing 2 events this year because I'm not doing back-to-backs. I just feel like flying home on Monday morning and then flying back to an event on Wednesday is strictly limiting me from my time with my children. And so that was a domestic decision on my part. I love being a dad more than anything in the whole world, even bass fishing.
Most important.
So I chose my children over that, and I have no regrets. But I do wish that I know when the event's going on, I'm going to be watching. I'm going to be glued to my phone or my television. I'm going to be watching live. And I think one of the things that I'm going to gain from this is I'll be on the fan side of things, and I will be able to see what the screen looks like. I'm going to go through all the different options that JM and Bass offer now, and I'll understand what we're doing behind the cameras much in the director's chair so much more now, because I'll be on the fan side of things this weekend for the Lake Martin event. So that'll be an interesting. Yeah, I can't wait.
Yeah, it's a big week. I'm going to miss you this week, but hopefully
Spotted bass.
We don't screw up when you're watching. We'll do our best.
I might call in the conference call and just get on the director's chair and just listen to see what's going on while I'm watching it.
We'll get you to jump on the live cast. Come on. We got no rules for that show. We'll see what we can get you on there. And speaking of screwing up, so Mercer in the morning, and you see, Jake, I mean, I used to what an idiot I am to have started that. I mean, I used to come hang out with you guys.
Now you're committed.
Now I never see you guys because, I mean, I show up there at 5 a.m. We shoot Mercer in the morning. You see me run back to the trailer, get that uploaded. Then Lisa's generally like, get down on the dock. You got to do it, morning interviews. And so, I mean, I'm not complaining. There's a lot of real jobs that are a lot tougher. But because of that, for the first 3 days, this event, we had issues getting it up on YouTube. It was only on Instagram. So Mercer in the morning will be up on YouTube and Instagram moving forward. I'm sorry I let you down. Hopefully this show didn't.
Hopefully not. I've missed. I had to. I'm not gonna lie. I had to dust my headset off because it's been sitting there since the last podcast we did last year. But I missed it. I miss you. I missed the whole event. I had so much fun at Guntersville, despite the weather that we had to fight and the conditions that we were fighting. I did have a blast. And it was one of the few tournaments nowadays that I got to hang out with 4 different anglers, and that was quite enjoyable for me. So I'm so glad this season got kicked off. And again, the way that it did. And again, congratulations to Hank Cherry. That was a huge win, and I'm sure that was a huge monkey off of his back and a great way to start the new season.
And once again, a very special shout out to not just you, but all the camera guys. You guys worked double, triple time here this week. Unbelievable what you had to deal with, but thanks for giving us what we love, which is bass fishing back in our life.
On behalf of the entire camera crew, and I feel like I can't speak for them, thank you for that. And they're all a bunch of great guys, and I love working with every single one of them.
They're a mouthy group that gets very quiet when you put a camera in their face. That's what I noticed. I mean, always chirping.
Yeah, they don't know what to say. All of a
in
sudden.
the morning on Sunday, I rolled over to you guys just to try and give you a shout out, and they were all like, Nothing to say here. Jake's Take will be back in your life after. Well, hey, maybe we're going to do, you know what? Let's try fit it in after this one. If you're going to cover it at home, you might be able to give us some different perspective, or maybe it'll suck, but you guys won't know unless you tune in, and I hope you do. See ya. So good to have Jake back on the show. If you're happy to have him back, make sure you welcome him back in the comments, and that helps stroke the algorithm and, well, keeps the grow going. But we're not done. Let's answer the question that many people have been wondering. Who in the heck is Sam Soie? Sam Soie.
Dave Mercer.
We're freaking doing this.
we're totally doing this. This is a long time coming.
If people realized how much time's been put into this podcast, they would realize, like, ultimately this is going to be a failure, because I mean, anything that has this much prep put into it, like of us actually saying we're going to do a podcast together, I mean, it's bound to let us down. But I'm excited to do this with you, because ultimately I'm a fan of what you do. I like your place in the sport. I've watched it for a very long time, but kind of just want to know who the hell Sam Soie is.
Thank you. Thank you. And before we go any farther, I have to say thank you for doing the podcast and having me on. This is the final calm before, like, your storm. You know what I mean? You have Guntersville later this week, and then obviously it just rolls from there. So it's like, thank you. Thank you for having, kind of a crusty Midwesterner from the north on right before bass fishing just completely opens wide up. So thank you.
Well, I mean, it's kind of like, hey, when Madonna calls, you got to take the interview. You're pulling away this week, just so you know, like, people think, oh, when I get out of school, I'll not have to study. This entire week is just me studying, like, just learning crap about people. Like, I walk through the house and my wife just shouts anglers' names, and I give her stats. Give me one. Try me right now. Throw me Elite Series angler.
Let's go Hank Cherry.
Hank Cherry's an 8-time Bassmaster Classic qualifier. He's got 4 wins, 2 back-to-back Bassmaster Classics, and he also won a postseason event.
Boom.
Nailed it.
Boom.
Gosh.
That's what I'm talking about. And people don't know that,
though.
you know. They go to the classic and they hear you just rattle it on stage. Like, they don't know the back work that you and your wife put into to nail that.
She hates it. She hates it. She doesn't hate it, but I mean, it's funny because it's like a life lesson, because my kids, they're studying for real exams. Yeah. And I'm like, see, this is how you need to know stuff, son. Try me. And so that's what I've been doing. But there's people with real jobs that have a lot tougher things to do. But me and you are the lucky ones. We have somewhat, I believe you're in the same group, avoided real work the majority of your life.
Yeah, for sure. Like, we're both kind of in this media realm side of the fishing world. And there's, like, nowadays in 2026, there's a lot of, like, avenues and realms that you can operate and be there. And like you said, we're beyond lucky. So beyond lucky.
When did this plan start for you? Like, for me, it was just literally, I didn't have another plan. Like,
I'm shutting that down.
Sorry.
I'm shutting it down.
I'll stand down.
One personal question, because like you said, you've been prepping for the Elite Series all week. And this is where you start off. On a personal note, it was your anniversary yesterday.
Oh, it was
And I want to know, what'd you do? And was Mama happy?
She was happy multiple times. I mean, we went to lunch, we went to dinner, we did lots of things. Yeah, no, it was a wonderful day. It's weird though, dude. Like, 24 freaking years. Like, I said that to Sarah. I'm like, in every other part of my life, when somebody's been married for 24 years, I'm like, wow, they're old. And I'm like, wow, how did we end up being those people? But contrary to popular belief, married life is wonderful. I mean, it's got a lot to do with the person you choose. And I'm lucky that I chose a good person and that she agreed to it. And I think you're in a similar situation where if you get to, I mean, honestly, my wife is my best friend. I am very lucky. Like, I got buddies who, if they get tickets to a ball game or they get to, like, they're calling everybody they can to avoid actually turning to the person they live with and say, you want it. Like, we do everything together. So I'm very lucky. But yeah, no, it was a wonderful anniversary. It's actually like by the time this airs, it'll be a week from now. So hopefully we're still together.
Well, what's one piece of advice to make it 24 years? Just one. If they had to give one overarching piece.
There's all those weird things that like people say, like don't ever go to bed fighting and don't ever like all those kind of things. But honestly, choose wisely, young grasshopper. Like honestly, that's it. Like a lot of people, like if you're getting married because you think you should get married, you probably shouldn't get married. It's I never questioned with me and Sarah. I never questioned whether it like I just know like and not that we haven't had our share of different things you go through in life. I mean, you're together with someone that long, you're going to go through different periods of life where some's a little tougher, some's a little easier. But honestly, like this secret, if you want to say it, is we're each other's best friend. We talk, like there's nothing I hide. Like, you know how you have that buddy who is like a totally different human when they're with their partner. And you're just like, well, this is not the dude I've hung out with. Nobody's ever accused me of that. Like if you meet me with Sarah, without Sarah, that this is who I am. And I think because of that, you don't like, I couldn't live a lie. Like I couldn't be one of those people who's like, well, don't tell her this happened or don't like, well, she knows everything that happens to me in my life. Like we were friends before we ever got together. So she even knew stuff that happened before we were together. So yeah, be best friends with that person because, that just makes, I don't know. I didn't know. I always feel weird because I think it's so different for everybody. Like I think that, we're just a different couple, but we're just those people that are like, we've never ever questioned it. Like, you know, when people are like, well, I don't know if this will work. I made that joke, like, hopefully we're still together. Yeah. But I've never questioned it. Like, it's never been like oh, well, you know, I don't know. I mean, I just think if you pick the right person and you know, and you are open all the time, that's what life's all about. Right. Like, I mean, that's a horrible answer, I think.
No, I think it's a phenomenal answer. It's a phenomenal answer. Like, and that's longevity. And for folks who are obsessed with something, I mean, obviously it could be different than fishing, but what we love the most is fishing and everything to do with the world of fishing and about it. Like it consumes so much of your life. So if you have somebody in your life who is not only your best buddy, but understands that about you and supports you on that, like how is that not just, that's the recipe for success? Are you kidding me?
So here's a funny thing. So one of the things we did yesterday, my wife likes to do this every once in a while, but she decides, hey, we're going to watch our wedding, which ironically, our wedding, the worst videography ever in the history of like.
There was no facts of fishing, 18 different angles, slow-mos. Are you kidding me?
It was, we got a guy who wanted to give us a gift and it's the gift that keeps on giving. Cause like I watch it and I'm like, maybe a different angle. Like it's just bad. Anyways, but we watched the wedding and, I mean, I'm fighting to try and hold on to my hair. If I had real friends, they would have told me a few years earlier, like it's kind of, you know, when it gets that messy stage where you're like, I still have hair from the front. But the thing that was wild is one of the things. So I never wrote a speech. I don't remember what I said. I kind of roasted like everybody in my wedding party and tried to say nice things, but just like, I'm a talker, clearly. But one of the things I said in my speech that stood out that was wild is, and this is 24 years ago. I've worked for Bass now 16 years. I had no idea when I was getting married that I'd ever work for Bass. Yeah. But I said in my speech, I said, growing up, I always dreamed of winning the Bassmaster Classic.
No.
And my brother would always be like, as I dated girls, he'd be like, well, so would you rather date her or win the Classic? And everybody that I ever dated would be like, no, Classic, 100% win the Classic. I want to win the Classic. Yeah. And Sarah was the first person that I ever dated that I was like, she is my Bassmaster Classic. Like I won the Bassmaster Classic by marrying an amazing human. So, and it's wild that I work for Bass, and you know, it's just weird, like years later, to look at me saying that, and I honestly believe it. So,
what did she think about watching it last night? What were her takeaways?
Oh, She thought I was hot, bro. I mean, it's love. She still thinks I'm hot. It's weird. I mean, love is blind, clearly, because she still thinks I'm very attractive. But yeah, no, it's kind of weird when you watch something like that because you see people that have passed, you know what I mean? And yeah, I saw my mom and she's passed, and it's kind of emotional that way, but it's weird. It's funny because I look at it now and I'm like, the video is so shitty. Like, it's the worst. It is, but it's the equivalent. Like, when my kids watch it, it's probably like what I thought when I watched black and white videos. Like, everything's so grainy. And, but yeah, we ultimately walked away by saying we had a pretty freaking badass wedding. Like, the amount of people that, like, it was a party.
That's awesome.
So yeah. People tuned into a fishing podcast, but little do you know, relationship advice.
Exactly. That's what they get on here.
Yeah.
That's what they get. They don't know what they're getting.
And we're both ends of it. I'm 24 years in, and you, my friend, are about 24 days into getting engaged. How's it going?
It's well, that's why I'm asking for advice. It's getting rocky here, Dave. And no, it's not getting rocky. No, same deal. I think I'm lucky enough to be in the position like you, or Steph is like my best friend. But we don't have to go. We don't have to continue to get sappy. We can get into other stuff.
You think people are still watching?
No, they logged out? But for the folks here, we appreciate it.
2 people, Sarah and Steph. That's literally all that's watching now.
Thank you for tuning in, Sarah. Thank you for tuning in, Steph.
Proving once again that love is blind and they think this is entertaining. No, but it's the key in life. Like, honestly, I think as you become an adult, you make choices that can affect your entire life. And that is a huge, and I've watched friends that it didn't work out. And it is horrible to watch what they go through. But we're definitely lucky to have this situation. I mean, I think that's literally my thing in life. I'm just lucky. Like, I'm really freaking lucky to have had opportunities that I've had, and ultimately none of it. Like, here's the funniest thing. So I was engaged to a girl before Sarah. I shouldn't keep this going.
No, keep it going.
She, like, literally the reason we broke up is because she hated me fishing and then, like, wanted me to get a real job and everything like that. And then it's just so amazing when you're with somebody that like supports everything. Like, I could tell Sarah, I'm going to do the most ridiculous stuff. Like, honey, I'm going to quit everything and I'm going to try my hand in my 50s at freaking stand-up comedy. I'm just going to go do that and quit everything. And it wouldn't be a wise decision by her, but she'd be like, okay, I have faith in you. And she would work and help me make it happen. So she's the wind beneath my wings is what I'm saying.
That is awesome. Shout out Sarah Mercer.
Yeah. But that was a week ago. Now, by the time we air this, because I'm shooting it in advance while I'm away at tournaments. But Sam Soie, this is a fishing podcast.
Yeah.
When in your life were you like, ooh, I'm not like my buddies fish, but I'm different than them?
I think like many kids, if they're lucky enough to be introduced to it when they're young, and it's probably like, a worm, a hook, and a bobber type deal. Like, I feel like all kids enjoy fishing, at least to some extent, but then others like grip onto it harder. And if, you've got different people in your life that maybe expose you to it more, you might go down that path. But like, my parents were not super into fishing by any means. I'm talking like my dad owned some red and white daredevils, and my mom was a genie with a hook, a worm, and a bobber from the shore for bluegills, right? But then if you just get obsessed with that as a kid, you gravitate to it and you find other buddies at your school. And back in the day, like, fishing was not like, I'm not extremely old, but like back in the day, fishing was not like super cool. It's not like everybody went to school and talked about fishing, but you would find, a couple like-minded buddies. And that's what I did. Like, I just found a couple really good buddies when I feel like I was like 9, 10, 11, 12 years old that were also just absolutely obsessed with it. And then, I feel like from that age on, that's where we just couldn't get enough. And then by the time, we couldn't even drive yet, you'd meet a couple folks that could drive, and then maybe you could enter in a couple local Tuesday, Wednesday nighters and get absolutely stomped, but you had the best time, like totally throttled, but you felt that first blast off of, 8 boats. And back in the day, somebody had a Lund, somebody had this, somebody had there was like probably 1 or 2 actual bass boats at an old school Wednesday, Tuesday nighter around my Minnesota area, but you saw those boats. And even back in the day, seeing a sparkly bass boat drive by, it was like, I remember seeing that on the bus, dude, and like losing my ever loving mind, dude, just to see one with my eyes. Like, yeah, I feel like that's the start of where it really, where I just fell in love, you know what you love when you love it.
Yeah. No. And that is when you get your skull caved in the tournament, that's also one of the, because a lot of kids don't like things that they don't do well at, like, hey, you like hockey because you're really good at it, or soccer because you're really good at it. But when you're not good at something, and generally when you start fishing tournaments, you're not good at it. It's going to take a while and you're going to take some stompings, but if you still love it, that's a sheer sign. But so going through school, when do you remember? Like, I remember in grade 5 telling people I'm going to fish for a living. I had no idea how I was going to do it. But in grade 5, I was like, I'm going to be a fisherman. That's what I'm going to be.
I want to say, probably around grade 5 or grade 6. I feel like when I was like 11 or 12, that's when I told people like, I'm going to be a professional fisherman. And then, at the time, you just had Bassmaster magazines and stuff like that. But and the same deal, they'd be like, how? And he'd be like, I don't know. No. And like you were saying earlier, like even takeaway tournaments, like if you truly go fishing a lot or love fishing, like it is the most humbling thing in the world. And especially back then. And like nowadays, folks have so much media. If you're a young kid or a beginner at any age level, like to just get down some basics. Like I couldn't imagine if somebody had taught me about a wacky rig Cinco, like really sat me down and taught me about some basic stuff when I was like 8, 9, 10, 11, to have like so much more success. Like we were throwing random stuff at the wall and saw what stuck, you know what I mean? Like me and another couple of my buddies, and they didn't know anything either, but through time, like then you start to figure out one thing or the next thing. And then that's when you get like wicked addicted because you're like, okay, that worked. Okay, that doesn't work. That worked a little. Oh my gosh, we're the best. Like something works a little bit one time. I think we're the best. You have that blind faith every day going out, be like, oh yeah, this is so fun, and we are the best. Like caught a handful of bass.
I think that's also important too in the learning process, like to learn to think yourself. Like there's a lot of like part of the negative of today's world where you get the answers to the questions. It's kind of the battle of AI. Sure, you can tell AI to write you a column on whatever and it's going to write it to you, but you're not learning that. And sometimes getting the answers like you get them now stops your brain from learning. Like I remember I did the stupidest things to lures and things and thinking that, but there's also some of that you still to this day, like that part of your mind process that helps you be a better angler.
I guess I never thought about it like that, like the true double-edged sword of it, because there's stuff. I rip Chat GPT and stuff to ask it crazy questions all the time. And I'm like, it almost just, I'm getting a quick answer. And then I literally don't think about it ever again. I never really learn it. I never really soak it in. I just got the answer, walked away. And like that with fishing back in the day, like was never anything like that. Like you slowly learned, and then if something worked, then it became more addicting. Like, oh, we'll do this, we'll do that. But yeah, I think between fishing little local tournaments and fishing with a lot of buddies, and then right as we were kind of toward the end of high school, and maybe this is in like 2013, that was like probably the Gen 1 years of like GoPro, the original GoPro. And one of my buddies had a GoPro, and we were like, are you kidding me, dude? This is incredible. Right when we're starting to like get wicked good at fishing. And by that point, like we were not wicked good at fishing. We're like, now that we like know what we're doing, we're totally going to like, we got to record this, dude. Are you kidding me? And we got to put it on like Facebook. At that time, like YouTube or any of that was not even a big deal. We're like, we need to put this on Facebook. And yeah, that was a cool time because it was like, I think I felt like the first time, like younger folks or anybody could like, I guess like have an action camera or be able to film something, and whether they put it up anywhere, like almost watch it back. And that was never a thing unless you watched, fishing on Saturday morning TVs, like watching Bill Dance, watching the Linders, watching In Fisherman. Like that is, I mean, those were the bread and butters that we watched and we worshiped. And then for us to go out and kind of play around and almost like reenact, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That was what really brought, I guess, maybe recording fishing to the next level. When we're like, holy smokes.
Do you remember the first video you posted that actually got some eyeballs, or did it take a while for anybody to even watch?
For sure, it took a while before anybody watched, but I think I can remember. So kind of like I said in school, like you'd find yourself around a couple like-minded people that like to fish. And this happened toward the end of high school where Facebook was getting kind of big. And obviously fishing forums were big, but on fishing forums, everybody had like these, these Jedi names, you know what I mean? They never went by their actual names, but we loved fishing forums and we got a lot of information from them and shot ours in there too, or maybe a picture here and there. But Facebook started like Facebook groups. And there was this one group of boys from northern Minnesota and Bemidji. I think they were just going to college at Bemidji at the time. And they started a Facebook group called Team Yukon Outdoors. And they'd film some waterfowl stuff, some bass fishing stuff. And I'm talking like a minute video of like, flipping a jig and hammering it. And like first thing I did is I reach out to these boys and I'm like, you guys are from, kind of the Minnesota area. Like whatever you're doing, dude, like I want in, like I love your guys' videos. I love what you're doing. And they like accepted me into their group of this Facebook group there was probably 10 or 12 of us. And we all were just, contributors to it. And some of my first videos I feel like I ever put out were, on the Team Yukon Outdoors Facebook page. And then we created a YouTube page and some was bass fishing and some was, just very random outdoor stuff. But it was the first time where like a group of contributors were putting stuff up there in my world. And it was cool. It was amazing. It was life-changing.
So you're with what you do for a living now, like, did it just evolve into that? Or did you ever have a moment where you're like, man, I need to do this. And this is where, like, how did you evolve? Like, it's a long road between telling your parents and your school teachers you want to fish for a living and actually doing it.
Yeah, like for sure a long road. And there's obviously different people and instances in life that pop out that can, change that trajectory. Like the same deal, like when you get a job for Bassmaster, or like maybe when you start unofficial, like different little parts in your life, you probably know have changed the different course of, what's made you into a media powerhouse today in the fishing. Serious though. But like,
I don't know. I'd say I'm a powerhouse. Power's on at the house sometimes, but we're far from a friggin' powerhouse. But
at the end of high school, me and my buddy Adam Bartushik, we started a fishing team, and we were the only two that showed up. And we went and we fished the Minnesota State tournament, and there was 13 boats there. Nowadays, there's tournaments with hundreds of students just qualify for your opportunity to go. Like, it's crazy how it's evolved. And we went, and that was like, that was the first tournament I'd ever fished against folks my age. All the other ones were just, Tuesday, Wednesday nighters, Sunday morningers against like, grown adults. But at that point you're like, oh man, now we're filming. Now we're fishing against folks our age. Like this is super sweet, and kind of doing a little bit of the recording thing at the same time. And then I went to Stevens Point, Wisconsin, because they had a good college bass program. This is right when that kind of started to blow up a little more. I want to say 5 years before that, they had maybe started and established a club, but I saw on TV one time that Stevens Point, Wisconsin was down there at the BASS, like college national championship. And that was wild, dude. Like that was wild. And then like Austin Felix won, dude. Austin Felix from Minnesota won, and he's going to the Classic, and I saw him on television. I'm like, are you kidding me, dude? Are you kidding me? There he is right there. There's a Minnesota boy that grew up around Lake Minnetonka, which is only an hour from my house. And he's going to compete with the dogs, dude. Are you kidding me? Like told you it's a thing. And at the time, like at Stevens Point, I was going for graphic design. I knew I liked media or something in the the art world, and I didn't know exactly how to mix that with fishing. I thought maybe someday, because Minnesota is such a cool home base hub for a lot of different fishing companies, like your Raplas and your Clam, that's big in the ice fishing world. Like I thought maybe one day I would do photography or graphic design for them. That was like my realistic goal when I went into college. I was like, we'll figure something out. I will be involved in this industry some way, somehow. And then from there, they didn't have a film program, so I started dinking around more with that, and we started doing more of those Team Yukon Outdoors videos. And I met Jay Siemens, or kind of through Messenger, Jay. And I went to one of my friend's weddings, and Jay was shooting the wedding. This is before Jay Siemens. Jay Siemens is a Midwest powerhouse, by the way. He is, from his Thrive Visuals to his massive media company to now his massive social media and YouTube following. He was just shooting weddings.
Yeah.
And I talked to him at the wedding, and we'd kind of talked back and forth, and he looks me in the face and he's like, dude, you need to drop out of college and just film. Because I was getting more into filming and shooting. Like Jay had seen some of the productions. I'm all self-taught with editing and video. He was like, you can do this, dude. You like it now. You do it. Just drop out of college. And Steph is like at the wedding. She's like, we're like sophomores. And he's like, no, you're fine. Just drop out. Like you drop out. You come work for me or just start your own thing. Like just drop out and just do freelance video. And I was like, holy smokes. I didn't, but I really took that to heart, being like, because Jay was doing something that I thought was incredible too. Obviously, as a contributor to Uncut Angling and their awesome, ice fishing productions, to his own freelance deal. Like he was making it work as a living, kind of operating in the fishing world. And then after that, Jay hooked me up with Alex Perrick and the Googan Squad. And when I was a senior in college, those guys said, you do great videography, you do great editing, come down, film for us. And I dropped out of college when I was a senior, dude, and moved to Texas.
So you lived with the Googans for how long?
At the original Googan house, I think for 2 years. Yeah. And I was helping them as a side shooter for some of their original projects, and then traveling around with Alex everywhere, kind of filming his videos and editing for him and being, his full-time media man. And it was wild, dude.
Wow. That was a really cool time in the sport too. Like what they did was really cool. Like in their original houses, and they took stuff that you saw in the gaming world and different areas happening that never happened in fishing. And weirdly, I think the Googans get a lot of respect in some circles. I think they don't get it in others. But if you really look at what they did was amazing. Why do you think that they stood out? Look, what made as an outsider who just came in that world, what made them stand out? What made them different?
Well, here's a unique part of the story too. So at the same exact time when I was like a senior in college, and I'd kind of really sharpened my video and editing skills, during the same week, I got a job offer from Alex and the Googans come down there. And then I got a job offer from a very respected guy up here called Jason Mitchell. Jason Mitchell Outdoors has been on TV for years. Incredible full circle from ice fishing to hunting to open water walleye content. Like he was, a television powerhouse. I got a job offer from both of them in the same week. And I think this one would have been closer to home and probably much more stable. And the other one was just the inception of kind of a lot of this internet fishing action that was blowing up. And I went with this one, and they stood out just because I feel like it was the first time that anglers, and like you said, they get good, bad, and different rap. Like, it doesn't matter what you think about them. It was the first time that some anglers were coming together and making fishing content that wasn't so pre-staged, wasn't so pre-TV staged. And I think there was a lot of relatability there. And for that, I guess, for that alone, I think I was like, that's where I think this media and fishing is going. I think it's going to just be much more real, relatable. There's going to be folks one day on podcasts talking about how they've been married for 24 years. Are you kidding me? Imagine that as an opener in an OG television production. It wouldn't happen, but it happens today because I think the floodgates are open, and it's like, people just want to meet and talk with real people. And they were showcasing that through very raw, just unprofessionally done video. And I think there's a lot of relatability there. And that's kind of why I decided to go that route, I'd say.
Avco not only makes incredible outdoor clothing, but they care about anglers with their 10% pledge. Avco and the Shed family donate at least 10% of the company's profits to conservation and making fishing better. Now back to the show.
How wild was it living with all of them? Like, did everybody physically live in that house, or was that just for videos?
Half of them would live there half the time, and then the other half kind of lived locally. But there was a lot of folks living there, and obviously there was not like these are young cats, and I'm a young cat myself. Like, some folks are, very unorganized, very wild, I mean, some folks are flying to Beijing and the other folks are coming here. We try to do some stuff. We do a Mexico trip. Let's go to New Zealand. Let's go to Thailand. Let's go. We went all over the world to do crazy filming stuff. And it was unorganized chaos, but I think it really sharpened my skill as a videographer and editor for many different situations, and just, capturing fishing and different fish and content so many different ways. It was almost like if somebody went to college and they just did one thing every day for like 2 or 3 years straight. Like, how good would you be at, I don't know, History 101? If you just did History 101 every day, like, you'd be dialed. And that's because like, I'm very grateful I got the opportunity to work with those guys. Like, they really dialed my skill in.
And they had to be pushing each other too, in the way that, like, hey, we're in this house. We're all like, hey, this is what we did today. Well, guess what? We're going to do this. It's just natural competition.
Totally. And any young fellas, when they're in their early 20s, like, they are all gas, no brakes. Like you said, competition. Like, we are fish and film and repeat, fish and film, edit, repeat, fish, film, edit till 1, 2, 3 in the morning, repeat. This wasn't, and they were on like they were just ripping out content, like, just so much. And from the editor side of it, I'm like, holy smokes, dude. Like, I'm, totally thrown to the lions, but it was all for the best. I really think, just to sharpen the skills at a max level. You know?
So how long did you live there?
I think I lived between like there and Chicago and in Wisconsin, because they're always bouncing around for like maybe 2.5, 3 years. Yeah. And then from there, broke off to kind of do my own thing and never really looked back. And when I broke off to do my own thing, like, still, even at that time, which is now maybe, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 years ago, like, it's not like, oh yeah, just start a YouTube channel, dude. Like, it'll work. No. Like, it's such a, it's a marathon of throwing different stuff up at the wall and capturing fishing and creating your own brand and trying to make things your own and showcase fishing and what you love at the same token. Like, it's really difficult, but when you really, really like something, you'll work really, really hard at it. Just like you see all these anglers today.
Yeah. What made you want to break off? Like, did you know always that, like, hey, I'm not going to be a camera guy forever, I need to be on the other side? Or like, what pushed you away from that?
I definitely think there was always a part of me that was like, I don't want to be a cameraman forever. I think I did want to be in front. And there was just like, we'd reach a certain point where the group was even starting to break off and different things are starting to break off, that it just like, there was a lot of chaos there, dude. Like, I'm talking a lot of chaos. And almost like there have been many more times before that where I'm like, dude, I should probably leave. Like, this is a wild situation to be at. But I think it was just at the end of one winter that it was like, I have an opportunity, like, not an opportunity. I have a decision. Like, do I want to try to do this on my own and go try to build my own brand and kind of live my own life? Or do I want to stick this out? And this is not like a normal, maybe someday would have turned into a more cameraman job. At that token, it was just, you were following everybody else's life in their tracks, which they were a big deal. So it was a pretty sweet deal to, like, have the opportunity to capture that. But at the same token, like, I didn't have a life of my own. I was itching to fish more tournaments. I was itching to tell my own stories. I was itching to see my boat, dude. I had like an old 1980s Red Rocket Ranger that I haven't kissed or hugged or fished in like 2 or 3 years. I'm like, I need to get back to this. And then obviously, you know, an awesome gal in my life too, that she let me just roll to Texas for 2-3 years. And I just said, you know, I don't know when it's going to work out, but it'll work out. Like this is the best education I could ever get, and probably filming in media and social media. I need to go do this.
Yeah. So you say there was a lot of chaos. What give me an example of the most chaotic night at the Googan house?
Oh man. Like I'm just,
you don't have to include names.
Like we don't have to include names, but I mean like just chaos all the time. Like we could be filming something in Thailand and then rent scooters and get pulled over by the police, and the police are chasing us down. The police are drop kicking some of us off scooters, and we go to Indonesian jail pert near. Like, are you kidding? Like craziness, dude. Like craziness. All the way from that to, I don't know, just moving so fast that like we could be in Canada 1 second, Texas the next. Like no organization, no plans. Like, so yeah, maybe that's not a great example. Like I'd have to sit back and think about some stories, but so much chaos.
Wow.
Yeah.
You really spent time in an Indonesian jail, or that was threat? What is that like? At what point are you like, wow, we're making fishing content, I'm in jail?
I think that down there in some of those places or in some of those countries, like if you just like we were speeding, getting away from them. If you offer them an amount of money, you're like, I had my cameras with, dude. I'm like, we're working for a travel agency. Like we have money, like you should let us go. And then after a little while of holding us, they let us go. And then we were playing jokes on the other guys that ended up getting away on the scooters, telling them like, you know, we're locked up here. You need to call your dad. You need to call the embassy, dude, and tell them, like, get us out of here. And it was just craziness, dude. Like absolute craziness.
Wow. See, that's part of your life. I had no idea you lived with them.
Yeah.
That's wild. It's wild. It's amazing the amount of people that have had that experience, whether it's with Googans, whether it's, you see it with guys who shoot with Elite Series guys for a little while, but then they break off and they do their own thing. But so what did it feel like when you finally said, hey, enough of this, I'm going back home to Minnesota? Like, was that just like, whoo, or was that the scariest time of your life?
I'd say both, like, but scary, like definitely scary. But at the same token, like, I don't know. I was younger then too, and I felt like I had all these creative juices that I was ready to give more than 110% to fishing and media and tournaments and everything. I wanted like all of it. Let's go. Like, you know what I mean? I was ready to do anything. Like I was still doing, I still had to make money. So I was doing a million freelance stuff on the side. Like I was like, I'll do these photos for you or edit this promo video or do that. So I was trying to, you know, kind of mix that with chasing kind of like my dream of being an independent creator and, you know, just an independent, you know, media man in fishing. And at the same token too, like totally obsessed with like tournaments. So I'm doing tournaments on the side, or then I got linked up with some other boys to film their opens and compete in the opens from the co-angler side. Like there's so much of that is, yeah, but it's all good. Like it was all good. And it all shapes whatever you do in life. If it's a good experience, bad experience, like it'll shape a certain aspect of you, and you will take away something from that. And you'll meet people that down the road, you don't know when you'll cross paths again. And that's a lot with the whole fishing world is like, that's why I say, go to the Bassmaster Classic, go to this, go to a sports show, go to that. You never know the people that you'll meet, and you'll come back in contact with them down the road, because it's, you know, probably more than anybody, like the folks you meet, you'll cross paths again. And it's a small world.
Yeah. It's funny. The Classic, I went to the Classic 10 years before I ever worked for Bass, and there was no plan. Like a bunch of those years I was working for companies, you know, that were at the expo and stuff like that. But not all of them. Some years I just went. And I remember people being like, well, why are you going? And I'm like, well, I gotta go. I mean, after I went to one, I'm like, I can't ever miss another one. And I look back at like all the people that I met over the years, and, you know, and it was obviously going somewhere. I just didn't know at the time, but you're right. And I think in some ways it's getting harder because I feel like, and you might have been kind of at the tail end of that, but I feel like when I was the young guy doing things, I was stood out in the crowd. Like there wasn't a lot of, even if you look at the Googan, one of the things they had going for them is they were some of the young guys. There wasn't a lot of young. Now there's so many young guys. Like it's so hard to stand out just simply by being who you are. But I think it's, I think if you're doing something you love, I mean, I don't know. I don't think that I agree that you should have a plan in life, but I also think that sometimes plans are the worst. Like, if I set out a plan in my life, half the cool crap I've got to do would never be on that plan because it doesn't make sense on paper. It doesn't make sense to be like, I was born in Ireland, I live in Canada, and I'd like to MC the southernmost sport there is on earth. I mean, that's foolish, but somehow it happened. How much of your life do you plan out and how much of your life do you live?
Well, I want to ask you a question first. I want to know, is there anybody that you met in those first couple of years of you just going and attending the Classic that were like, I don't know, major players later on in life of either becoming great friends or hooked you up with an opportunity that led to the job you do now?
Everyone. Like, I mean, I met, the first TTBC, the first Toyota Texas Bass Classic. Before that was MC. That's kind of the first big gig I had in the States to MC. And I met Lenny Francoeur and the guys from Octagon like years before that. And, just from getting to know them, it became an opportunity that came my way, like my relationship with Kevin and Zona, who ultimately helped me work at Bass. I mean, those are all you're just meeting people and I think it's weird. There's a term and you hear it around tournament fishing, you hear it around TV shows and people will say that guy's one of us or that girl's one of us. Like there's a connection where you're like, cause there's people who come in and out of fishing that you're like, they're just here trying to hit a home run and become famous or something, and then there's people that you're like, if TV goes away, if YouTube goes away, guess what? Somewhere in the world, Sam Sobi's fishing and somewhere in the world, so am I. That's just who we are. And, everybody I've met, I don't think anyone's anything, there's no such thing as self-made. Like you're made from the people that you have around you, that the people that are willing to support you. I could give you a list for days. And I'm sure you have the same thing. Like when you think about it, you're not meeting those people because you think they can help you. You're meeting those people because, hey, Kevin Van Dam's a pretty cool dude to become tight with, you know what I mean? And who knows, down the road, it ended up helping, but it's not, I don't think you go to those things to meet people and think it's going to help. You're just there because you want to be part of it. Weird. It's weird. I met you at the Bassmaster Classic. Yeah. First time I ever met you at a bar, ironically, of all places.
Yeah. I think it was at a bar, Champions Toast and stuff. And yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. And it's just wild, like crazy.
So where do you think you are in 5 years, 10 years?
Oh man, dude. People have asked questions like that before. And and this goes back to your other question, like how far do you plan out? And I'm I don't think I have a wicked dialed in plan for the next 5 years. And that's just because media and fishing and everything, it's changing at such a rapid rate now that I would love to say, hopefully, making YouTube fishing videos year round, and fishing tournaments or going on cool new fishing opportunities or doing media in different facets like podcasts to short form to long form. I'd love to just say that, but stuff changes so fast. Back when we were crushing Facebook videos, we didn't know that YouTube was going to be the powerhouse it was.
Yeah.
Now that we've been doing YouTube so long, back when we were doing YouTube uncontrollably, still am, But back when it was just starting, I didn't know, we had no idea about short form content. And then we had really no idea about long form content, which is podcasts. So it's changed. Yeah, it's changed so much that I don't know what's going to be next. But I mean, just keep probably being a student of the game and learning and growing with everything from fishing to media within fishing.
Yeah. I think that's how you have to be. I mean, we've definitely seen cases where people get locked into things and say, this is the way I choose to do it. And it doesn't work out in any business, never mind fishing. Like if you just say, hey, I'm going to do this for the rest of my life, guess what? Very few people get to do that. Like, you're going to evolve. It's going to change, and you're going to find yourself. I mean, your podcast's a prime example. If you had asked me 10 years ago, like, will you host a podcast? I'm like, nah, I'm not going to sit around and talk to people for hours. Like, but it's honestly one of my favorite things. Like,
I was going to say, you probably
it.
love it now. Like, you probably
really love it. You know what I love about it? It forces me to have conversations like this. Like, me and you, we're friends. We reach out to each other. You know what I mean? Like, when you got engaged, we reached out to you, whatever. But like to take the time and say, hey, let's have a conversation. Yeah. It happens, but in just little smaller doses. I like having, this kind of forces us to do this. That's what I like about it. You are a co-host on a podcast that I love, Pass the Barb. What do you love about that?
Same type of deal. Like, it forced you, and it's really cool for anybody listening as well. Like, I love podcasts are probably my favorite form of media to ingest, just because if I'm driving or whatever, like it forces the viewer and anybody else that's on to dig a little bit deeper, and you get real conversations, like something really real. Like, I still shoot very long form YouTube videos and stuff. And even if I'm fishing with a buddy here or there, but just to keep different things rolling, or a fish catch happens, or this happens, or that happens. Like, you never get to dig your heels in and like hear really awesome stories about, anything in like traditional media, where podcasts, like, that's what it's all built around. Like, I want to hear about your first 10 years at the Classic before you ever worked there. Like, I want to hear about 24 years of marriage with you and Sarah. Like, those are amazing stories. And that's, I think, helps not only connect us, but anybody listening too. Like, I mean, there's more out there to Dave Mercer and Sam Soie than just what maybe you would ask ChatGPT. And that's why podcasts, I think, are really cool. Like, really, really cool.
It's weird that podcasts are even a thing, because you look at the media scape today, everything's getting shorter, everything's getting faster, people's attention spans. I mean, it's a total dopamine rush. You're just flipping through real stories, TikTok, but then you've got this one thing that, like, the longer it can be in some situations, the better. Like, and I think that Rogan drove that. Like, I remember Rogan at the beginning saying how everyone told him, no, they got to be shorter. They got to be. And then he was like, the world doesn't need another 20-minute conversation. Like, if you look at interviews from like late shows from 15 years ago, and even today, they're so calculated and it's so fake. It's like, me and you started this conversation and we had no idea what direction we were going to go. I mean,
we had nothing planned.
No, and people know by now, but at this point of the podcast, they're like, clearly they could have planned it out.
No agenda, really? Sorry.
So no, but I also feel like that, like, dude, if I had planned things out, I never would have found out about the Googan thing. I had no idea you lived with the Googans for 2 years. And that to me is what, and also the length thing, like, you never want to shut off a conversation. If me and you met at a coffee shop and we're just shooting shit, you'd not be 33 minutes into it and be like, all right, and we're done. And you shouldn't be like that when you're having these conversations. But some of them go too long. I mean, there's times where I'm like, I probably should have stopped that conversation a little earlier, even in coffee shops. But
I almost feel like, because it is why, like you said, Rogan probably pushed that front and making podcasts extremely popular. But at the same token, like, I feel like I almost think about the way folks, and how they ingest media now in 2026 is exactly like eating, maybe. If I had to give it a thing, like, yes, do you want to go out and sit down and have a beautiful steak dinner every night? I'd say yes. I think that'd be good. But I mean, if we go out to eat, it takes a long time, and you do that, and then you sit down, and like, you don't have time for that all the time. But sometimes you want a snack, or sometimes you're getting fast food, or sometimes you're cooking at home. There's like all these different facets in eating, but you need to, the body wants to ingest, and at different times in different places, depending upon your schedule, you can ingest how you want to. And that's basically how I see media nowadays. You know what I mean? I got time for a snack. Boom. I want to hit a quick TikTok or a reel. People have a 20-minute lunch. They can't sit down and listen to Rogan or anything like that, or even watch a long form fishing video. But if they're working at the office and they got 2 monitors running, maybe they want Bass Live ripping, and then maybe they hit a podcast over here. You know what I mean? Maybe they have longer, different segments in their life that they can watch different things, and they'll intake what they can at the time they're feeling it, or the time that's allowed.
What do you love about fishing? Like, if you had to explain to somebody from another planet that said, hey, you fish for a living. Why? Why? Like, why do you love fishing? What does it give you?
Oh my gosh. Like, the best. And fishing is the best. It gives me like probably either ultimate love to stress or ultimate peace, depending on the fishing. And this is why I love living in the Midwest. And obviously I know so much of the fishing population is not in the Midwest, but I think I enjoy our season so much because there's different aspects in fishing that give me different love. So like we're in right now, ice fishing. I don't see ice fishing like bass fishing at all. It's not even the same thing. And it gives me a totally different love. If I go out to a new frozen tiny lake and I break it down and I end up getting into some bluegills or crappies in a unique, different way, and I've never walked foot on this lake before, it is like the ultimate success joy ever, and it feels so good. And then in the same token, if you're sitting inside a shack and you're just spending time either by yourself, which can be so peaceful, or others, it's like the ultimate love and peace. And then when fish roll by and you catch them, it's like cherry on top. And then you flip gears to bass fishing where it's like, move, groove, shake it down, boom, next spot, try this, boom, 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 like there's a different addiction and love in that too. Like I see fishing in so many different facets that bring me joy, but it's all personal. To me, it's all personal. I've done a lot of different saltwater trips and I don't love it a ton. And I think it's because I'm not connected with it. Like maybe it's because I think maybe one day I'll be more into saltwater or different type of stuff like that. But for now, I'm into traditional freshwater species and the bites that each one of them give. And I think that just gives me the satisfaction, the joy that nothing else in life can. Like, I don't know. What would you say?
Similar. I just think I think you're really lucky if you find that thing in your life.
Yeah.
And I think that thing's different for everybody. I think you come equipped with it almost. And I don't know how, because like I came from a similar, my dad fished, but he fished a little bit, you know what I mean? Enough to expose us to it. It was never like the way I think about fishing. My brother and sister, they hardly fish, it's not, but I have to fish like from the, and I think for me, it's home. Like it's where I feel whole. Like the world is full of noises. I think most people know this about me if you spend any time watching this podcast, but in my head, like every day is a little noise. Like it's just a lot of I have a vivid imagination. So I'm always like all over the place. Like when I'm talking to somebody, I'm like, the hardest thing for me to do is just focus on what's happening. Like, I read books and I'll go through 3 pages and be like, I don't even know what I just read, but I read it. You know what I mean? But fishing slows all that down for me. It slows the noise down for me. It allows me to, and it just makes me feel good. Like it's just, and I feel that same thing increasingly more from shooting underwater stuff. Like that's become a thing where it's just like, I can't explain to me. It doesn't make sense to a lot of people. Like if you're just like, so you're just going to swim around with fish for the entire week. Yes. It's the greatest thing in the world. Like it's good. And I get out of the water and I'm like, oh, you're not going to believe what I saw in this. And to other people, they might be like, I don't get it. But to me, that's what works. And for other people, it's other things. But for me, all the noises stop and it just allows me to feel more who I actually am. And I feel like that in other environments. Like I feel like that even on stage, like in busy places, like on stage, I feel at home too. Like I'm almost more comfortable in front of 10,000 people at the Bassmaster Classic than I am in front of 10 people in the corner of a room. But I'm lucky that my parents were dreamers. Like I was born in Ireland. They came here. They literally came here just for us. Like that's and they always told us to follow dreams. And I've been lucky to follow them. And I think that life's too short not to do what you love. And fishing's just what I love. And there's so many ways to dissect it. Like it's, I always say it's the world's biggest game of hide and seek, and the rules are always changing, and that's what keeps you engaged in it. But at the end of the day, I fish because it makes me feel good. I fish because it makes me, like Sarah will tell me, there'll be times where, the ironic thing about fishing for a living, and I'm sure you experience this to a certain extent, but is you got to keep fishing, like, because people want to pull you away. And I make it tougher on myself by doing stuff like bass and things like that, because you're always getting pulled away from what you love. But Sarah will tell me there'll be times where I haven't fished in a week or so, and she'll be like, you need to fish. You need to, like, it's not because she says I need to fish. It's you need to fish because you're becoming an asshole. Like you need to, it does something. It like, there's like a valve in me that like swells and then it kind of calms you down.
No, it does. It'll recenter a person so fast. And that's where like, I know exactly what you mean. Like if you haven't fished in a while and then you like almost get it out, you're just like, okay. Like you probably come home, you're probably so happy. She's probably like, oh, did you just smack him on a bunch of docks and you felt that thump? And you're like, yeah, dude, we could do anything tonight. What do you want to do? I love you.
It's wild. It is. But I think there's people on earth that haven't found that yet. Yeah. And I think the people that listen to this podcast, for the most part, I would hope that most of them, you were listening to a fishing podcast, so you probably have figured out that this is something you love. But the sad part is there's a world full of people who don't have that, who don't haven't figured out what it is that they really love. And I consider myself very lucky to have found it, but I don't think I found it. Like, I don't think I was searching. Like, it was just like, it wasn't an option. Like, to me, I don't think, like, people are like, oh, I think you'll make it or you won't. Like, dude, I never thought about not, of course I'm going to fish. That's what I'm supposed to do. Like, and it wasn't like arrogance or anything. You're just like, no, that's what I'm going to do. And if it doesn't work, I'm just going to keep doing until it works. Like my mother hated it growing up. Like she just wanted me to have a regular job. But, and I see it in my kids now. Like I see things they do. Like my son, for example, he's grown around nothing but the country. Like, he's been around lakes and everything his whole life. He loves the city. I don't get it.
That's in him, dude.
And it's in him. And I see the same look in his eyes when he goes to a city. Like when I go to a city, I'm like, good Lord, get me out of here. Like but when he goes to a city, his exact same look I had when I was a kid and I was on a school bus and we'd drive past any body of water and there'd be a pad bed. That feeling, that look that I had in my eye, then he has when he's in the city. So it's strange. Everybody's different, but you're lucky if you figure it out, I think.
I think so too. And for, you and I are extremely lucky that we get to call our career and our job and make a living in this world that we love so much. But the cool thing with fishing too, or if anything else that somebody finds, like I know they could delete YouTube and delete anything tomorrow. Like I know I'm going to be totally fine. I'll go roof houses and do landscaping again and then fish in the winter, spring, summer, fall, like probably maybe even harder. And I would be totally fine. Like I'd be fine. Like I'd live a happy life. Dude, I could live a happy life making a living a different way and then still just fish my ass off, dude. Like I would still be happy because it's like you said, it's home. It's still the thing that you love. And like you said, we were lucky enough to find it. And it's the best, dude.
And I think you have to have that. Like whether it's tournament fishing or whether it's TV, whatever, I think you need to love it. Like I remember years and years ago, like I was probably in my early 20s and I'm up fishing Kenora Bass International and Al Linder, who like, I mean, I'm sure same for you, but grew up, that's the guy, like, you know, and I remember watching him fish and being like, gosh, he loves like watching him run down to the boat and watching him run back to his truck to get something because I forgot the jig worm or what. yes. But I just remember watching him and I'm like, he loves this. And and that at that point they were very successful financially and everything. And I just look, but everybody that I've ever, like Kevin, like you name it, like anybody in this sport, like you gotta love it. Love it. Like you can't live, like Polnick says, love it, it's not enough. You need to really be like, I can't live without this. And I think that can be a blessing and a curse, but it's a requirement to make a living in this sport.
Speaking of the Linders, this past weekend, I was up with a bunch of buddies and I was fishing this is not like a serious tournament, but it's a pretty big gathering of anglers in the culture. I was fishing the JC's ice fishing tournament on Gull Lake in Brainerd, and they drill 15 to 20,000 holes, and there is 8,000 to 12,000 people that come and gather in this area and fish. And going back to Linders, there was a group of all us, younger cats rolling around fishing. We fished the night before, we fished late into the evening the night before, and then we fished early in the morning. Then we went to the tournament, and Billy Linder was rolling around with us. And he is such an integral part in which made the Linders successful because he was running the camera, dude. He was doing some of the first underwater photography of fish and magazine covers. And he rolls around with us at 70 something years old and just fishes like a madman. And he is just this small little dude, obviously into his 70s now, and he goes hard, dude. He's not out there for work or anything. He's out there just being a fish bum and grinding around with us, and he loves it, dude. He's a part of that world, just like those world. He couldn't live without it, and dude fishes so much, and I see him all the time, and I'm just like, dude, I hope I'm just like ripping holes at 70 years old and grinding around with a bunch of 20, 30-year-old fellas, like just setting the hook, dude. You can just tell he loves it.
Oh, he loves it. I mean, I haven't seen him in years, but when him and James Linder were,
Jimmy,
they were literally creating moping. Like the Demiki rig, but like this was it was 25 years ago or whatever, but I remember, and they were winning all of the Fort Francis bass tournaments, like that.
Yeah.
It's Kenora Bass International and Rainy Lake, which is the Fort Francis Bass. They're going to give me trouble for getting it wrong, but those two tournaments, but they would win there every year. And they were what they were doing was so cutting edge, but you just see the passion that they do everything with. It's just really inspiring, to be honest. I have a theory about them. It's funny enough because
let's hear the theory.
If you look at Minnesota, and it's starting to change now, obviously with Seth, with Easton, with Austin, like there's a bunch of dudes, from Minnesota that are doing well in tournaments. But for years, for all the lakes and all the fishing, there wasn't a lot of Minnesota guys that made it at a national level. And my theory is it's all because the Linders. Like I think because everybody, and not just the Linders, there's other shows and media that happened in Minnesota, but because Minnesota was such a hotbed for fishing media, I think a lot of the fishing talent didn't focus on tournaments. They focused on, I'm going to make a show. I'm going to make media.
Yeah.
Is my theory correct or totally off base? What do you think?
No, I think it's correct too, because if you go back in history too, like Al fished some of those early Bassmaster classics, and then Al's story is kind of like, as an angler, I had a decision, do I go down the media road or do I chase the tournaments? And he, starts a media organization, blows in fishermen up and does that. And I think folks saw that and went like, oh my gosh, like that's the way to make this a job. This is what Al did. And he's from our backyard, Yeah. I agree.
I still to this day can't hear someone say Brainerd, Minnesota without saying 999 Brainerd, Minnesota. like I forget what it was. Like recently I'm on a Zoom call with a bunch of different people, like supposed to be somewhat professional. And somebody said they were from Brainerd, Minnesota. And without even thinking, I'm like 999. They're all like, what?
If anybody's listening and wants to go down a fun rabbit hole, you should look up some of the old Linders or some of the old Raplas, like OG commercials that they did with those guys. And they're top tier. Like they're really top tier. They're good.
They're incredible. We had, when we were at Mille Lacs the first time, Al and Ron came on set for Bass Live. And that was another moment where I was just like Ron and Ron, like at that time physically, he was dealing with some stuff, like he had trouble standing and stuff like that. But as soon as like the picture came on, as soon as he could see what was going on, like Van Damme was fishing. He's like, Van Damme is fishing the Red Door Run. I can't believe he's fishing the Red Door Run. And like, you just see the passion and the excitement. And it's very cool. It's very cool. And I think that also plays through. One of the things I like about your stuff is you're a very good storyteller. You put people in that position, but I think that too comes from your passion. Like you have to be passionate about it to tell the stories the way you do.
Thank you. Yeah. And that comes from watching folks like the Linders and different stuff like that. Cause like you said, they have so much passion for, breaking down a weed patch in the middle of the lake. And this is, just the way they could tell it. And I was like, oh yeah. Or even we'll be bombing around in the car, me and my buddy Hayes, and Jimmy will call in. Like Jimmy will just call in. He's got a great relationship with my buddy Hayes. And we'll talk to him about where we're going. And over the phone, he'll just dissect everything we're going. Or were they shallow weeds, rocks to the weeds? Where you catch them shallow, no, mid-range, on flats or humps. And he just will dissect it real quick. And then he goes, all right, clear. And but like the conversation was never about, he didn't even know we're going fishing, but he's still right there, thinking it right there. And when you're right there with it, like it's in the front of your brain, it's all you can think about. It's all passion,
Yeah. So what's your dream for fishing? Like, what do you have dreams? Like, do you dream of like, one day I want to do this?
Oh man. That's a tough question. Man, I do think it would be incredible to fish in a classic. Absolutely. Like that. How is that not just something that everybody writes down in their notebook? Like, or be involved with it more. Like honestly, when I got the opportunity to play around with Rapala when they're doing kind of their deal before the weigh-ins, just to be on that stage is like, there's little stuff like that. There's so many different little things that like, oh, this is a dream. This is a dream. Even going to the Bassmaster Classic for the first time, that was like, whoa, it's a dream. But do I have one overarching one? Oh, no, like just continue to create videos in the format and the way that I'd like to create them. Like I want to push myself maybe to get outside my comfort zones or maybe do a trip that's outside my comfort zone and capture it in a way that I'm proud of. So maybe just something like that and getting on different bites that's the dream.
When you're making content at the pace that you make it, how much of your decisions on what you're going to shoot involves traffic? Thinking I got to be part of this. Like I need to get eyeballs. So I need to have this conversation or I need to shoot this. And how much of it has to do with just, that's what you want to fish for at the time?
No, not a lot of it. And I think my channel and my stuff could have grown a lot faster and been much more successful if I'd followed different trends. But then also I feel like I wasn't capturing and shooting and doing maybe exactly what I thought was really cool, because you can't, I don't know, like if you just want to go catch a fish on a Barbie rod and a gummy worm, like maybe that would conjure more traffic. But would that,
it does work.
Would that feed my soul? I don't think so, you know? So like you got to do, I don't know. So no, not a lot.
Does that frustrate you as a YouTuber? If I can classify you as that, sure. Like if you did catch them on a Barbie rod and a gummy worm, it would get crazy traffic?
Like for sure. Like, yes, absolutely. Like if this is my whole job. So, I mean, this is the stuff that rolls me around at night, or I go like, you know, I should be doing this. I should go do this. I should do this. No, I'll go back and do this. No, I want to check that lake out though. I went and burned 2 days by trying to get on this bite on a lake that I never thought had a whatever. And I was like, dude, you could have done this and it would have been much more successful. But at the same token, you gotta chase stuff around that you're in love with. Like,
yeah.
So yeah, no, it definitely like irks me and plays mind games for sure. Like, how about you?
It doesn't, I don't know what happens as you get a little older, but it doesn't bother me anymore. Like none of that stuff bothers me. I'm way past the, you know, I gotta have this, you know, I gotta dig deep into this guest so that we get the controversial comment and, you know, yeah. It's kind of gross that the world is the way it is. Like, yeah. but we're all the reason it's the way it is. Like if you look through, you know, even remove it from fishing, you know, being a big Chiefs fan. I had this conversation a few weeks ago, but there was an article somebody did and saying how much Andy Reid sucks. I stopped and I read the article. But if they had said that Andy Reid is the greatest coach ever, I probably wouldn't have read it. And it's part of, you know, that's the gross thing about the world. But I try to fight it. Like, I mean, this conversation is a prime example. I mean, I hope this show gets a lot of traffic, but this is a conversation I wanted to have. It's not like I'm like, we need to get Sam on and get his take on this because it'll get like, I mean,
yeah.
So it doesn't bother me when you see things like that. It's peculiar, but I understand that's how the world is. Like, I mean,
it's so tough because negativity in general sells. You know what I mean? And a lot of what you've done in your career and a lot of what I've done in my career so far has been based around a lot of positivity in fishing. And sometimes that is tough to get traffic on. And that is a slow burning log. That is not an explosive dynamite. I think you would have been horrible writing for a GQ magazine that you need to pop a story off and get a headline here. I think I would have been bad at it as well because we love fishing and the whole game behind it, that we just want to build it up. And then anybody that does anything negative is just bound to get more clicks. And I'm not just talking the fishing world. I'm talking in, like you said, the sports world or anything, life. It's just, that's tough. It's a bummer that's why reaction style or negative media gets the attention it does. Like, why does the squeaky wheel get the grease? I don't know, but that's how it's kind of been for a long time.
And that's fine if that's the world you want to live in. But I'll be honest, the reason that I try to stay away from it is just simply because it just doesn't feed me well. Like you know, when I live, like a couple of weeks ago, I had, and I didn't think it would cause a big controversy, but we had, you know, Matty Wong on the podcast, and I don't know if you saw the show, but he opened up and talked about some stuff that happened to him on the water between him and some other anglers. And before we recorded, he said, hey, I don't want to say any names or anything, but I'm going to tell some stories so people are realistic to what it's like competing at the top level. Sure. Well, he gets comfortable and gets flowing and starts hammering out names. And it was a bunch of different people he named having issues with. I mean, 4 different people. And I made the decision to beep the names out. And the reason for me to beep the names out wasn't to protect them. It was just because if I don't beep the names out, this becomes Jerry Springer. Because those guys are going to be like, put me on the show because I want to give my opinion. Yeah. And ultimately, the only people that know the truth are those 2 people that were there. It doesn't have to turn into a a judgment thing, like for the internet to debate who was right or who was wrong. Because the truth is, I don't know. The internet doesn't know.
Yeah.
The truth is those two people. And then all of a sudden, like people turned on me to saying like, you're covering up for people. And you're like, literally, but if I just cared about traffic, I would have played the names and I would have put that clip out there, and I wouldn't have had you on this week. I would have had them on this week and their debate back to it. And then guess what? Maddie would have come back and the traffic would have continued to grow. But me as a person would have felt like,
and then it's like, then you don't sleep easy at night. That doesn't feed your soul. That doesn't, honestly, it would definitely give you probably more views than this, and it'd give you more traffic than this. It would probably result in more subscribers, but at the end of the day, you're going to sleep tonight and go, dang, I just opened up the podcast and talked about my awesome wife. and then you have a home life to live. She's going to go, wait, you did? And you're going, yeah, it was actually a real conversation. She's going to go, I think I like you more now.
Yeah, well,
this was all Sam's doing. We should send him a gift.
I think you just got to do what's right for you, right? Yeah. And I think, I just think that the world, if you spend your life being pissed off because other people are doing different stuff, you're going to be pissed. I mean, like, dude, if you spent your whole life realizing that your beloved football team traded away a guy who won 14 games 2 years in a row and now is in the Super Bowl, by the time this airs, that'll be decided and we'll see. Regardless, but went to the Super Bowl, you'd be miserable, right?
Dude, I will say, especially in the world of fishing, and we're going to parlay this into some Minnesota sports where I've lived basically my whole life. People get so mad and get so fired up and they get so negative over the smallest things. And I'm like, you need to fish more or root for any Minnesota team more, because we are so beaten down and broken and humbled. Like someone could double flick me off to my face tomorrow. And I'd be like, oh, are you okay? I'm sorry. Like, I didn't mean, like, maybe I cut you off. I'm sorry. It's okay. It's no problem. It's no problem. We have gotten rid of a man. And this is just a story that has been told so many times, who is now going to compete in the Super Bowl next weekend. And we went, no, we don't need you. We don't.
I know you got us 14 wins, but screw that.
My gosh. Oh, the internet is amazing though, because the amount of memes and stuff and different stuff you'd roll by, especially if you're in an algorithm based around a sports team or something, the amount of folks that are just poking fun at probably how horrible we feel as Vikings fans is pretty good. Like it's pretty, I agree with all of them. I'm always like, we all feel like that.
And not just him, y'all. Also got rid of Daniel Jones, right? Like, yeah. Dude, and he was having a good year too.
You could roll, dude. There's a million of these stories. Like you could roll it back 5 years, 10 years. Oh, we got rid of David Ortiz and he went on to play for Boston and win multiple World Series and is in the Hall of Fame. And we didn't think he could hit. Like, are you kidding? Like, there's a million stories. Like, we are humbled folks. So when folks get mad about bleeping names or doing this, it's like, no, you need to. Oh, there's bigger fish to fry. It's all good. Like, this is fishing, dude.
What is your favorite sound on Earth?
This is actually crazy you asked this. Steph and I were watching a Netflix documentary last night, and I would suggest it to anybody. It's called, oh my gosh, let me look it up. The Wild Sounds. I have to look this up really quick. It'll take 5 seconds.
All right.
It's called.
For those of you listening, he's feverishly working on his phone right now. His thumb is on fire looking right. Sir, he's back.
It's called The Secret World of Sounds on Netflix. And it's where, obviously, in our nowadays technology, we're able to pick up all these crazy sounds by animals that they make that we've never been able to hear before. Dave, you would love this. Love this. Sit down and watch this tonight with your wife, dude. It's cool.
The Secret World of Sounds.
The Secret World of Sounds. And it's an amazing, like, nature documentary. But being that I'm into filming and editing and stuff, I'll put different sounds and different things all the time to, whether underwater sounds or nature sounds or different stuff, like to set the scene. This show was like, blew my hair back, dude. But if I had to pick one, I think an elk bugling is pretty amazing, dude. Yeah.
Really?
And I'm a whitetail hunter. I've never been elk hunting, but I think a bugling elk, dude, is just bone chillingly cool. How about you?
I'm asking the questions here, Sam. So
you got to pick one. You got to pick one. Come on.
I've run a Yamaha outboard for over 30 years. It has got me home safe each and every time. If you enjoy this podcast, remember, Yamaha supports it and they care enough about you to make this ad read very short. Now back to the show.
I'm going to stick to outdoors because, I think if you dig deep, there's a lot of sounds in life that, are pretty cool. You know what I mean? Like hearing your kids say your name the first time, what I mean? Like there's a lot of things like that. But if I said fishing wise, outdoor wise, I don't think, and this is kind of going to sound boring as an answer, but I don't think there's a cooler sound than a loon.
Oh my goodness.
A loon to me is like, loon has been kind of my good luck charm my whole life. We have a lot of pictures of loons in my house. I'm lucky to live somewhere that there's loons right in front of my house throughout the whole summer. And I love that sound. Like to me, that's a grounding sound. That's like you're in it. Like if you hear that sound, to me, that's, there's screaming braid and all this, but to me, like the sound of a loon is, that's cool.
If I had creative control over this podcast, I would edit it so I would say loon and you would say elk, dude. Because
Why?
I wish I could take it back. I do. A loon is incredible. A loon is 11 out of 10 sound, and especially if there's fog on the lake because the sun is just rising or the sun is just touching the top of the trees at a sunset and you just hear like a couple loons just hammer out. Like it is, if anybody is listening and they've never taken a trip to anywhere up north where there's loons and they need to hear it. They need to hear it. It's amazing. Love it.
It's wild that it actually comes out of a bird. Like when you hear that noise, it's just a cool thing. I mean, there's certain things you feel on the water. And I think that is also what addiction to fishing, like that feeling, like when the sun first hits your skin, you know what I mean? Like when you're out early and you first feel the sun on your skin or your hands, and there's a lot of really cool moments in the outdoors. But we're lucky to get to enjoy a bunch of them, dude.
Yeah. Screaming braid is pretty good too. Like a hard braid hook set.
Yeah.
Pretty amazing. Or when one sucks down a topwater, like that's pretty incredible. A frog blow up in general. Are you kidding me? Like,
yeah.
Like,
all of that's, but I mean, and that again is back to our original topic about you got to find out what it is for you. You know what I mean? Like, everybody's different. And I think it's natural as you develop as a human that you probably at times, there's times in your life that you like things because people around you like it. But there's certain things that you just like, you can't change. Like, you know what I mean? Like if I go find people that you went to school with and I say, do you think Sam Soie still fishes? Nobody thinks you don't fish. Like there's certain stuff that's just what he does. So I look forward to seeing your future, dude, in this sport. And I think what you have, first of all, we talked about fishing with barbie poles. You need to pay back your boys.
I know.
Okay, that's the only negative in our relationship. Like you owe a bet. I mean, pay them back. Fish with the damn Snoopy pole, and you'll get great traffic on your website too.
I'll do it for them. I'll do it for you.
Do it for the
masses. I'm going to open that segment up by going, this is nothing for me. This feeds my soul zero. This is all for you.
No, but I think that, what has always kind of, that I think stands out about you, Sam, is you're genuine and you're real and you love what you do. And I think that stands out in this podcast, but the world needs more people to do what they love, because people that do what they love are happy people, and the world could use a few more happy people.
I agree. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me on, and to have me on right before the busiest time of your year. Like, you need to be ripping note cards right now and packing your bags and getting down to Guntersville and bringing ice auger with you. And you need to, I mean,
it's going to be interesting.
It's going to be
great. Catch them, though. It's Guntersville. I mean, by the time this airs, that tournament will already have happened, but I will go out on a limb and say they will still blast their lights out. Those are all northern strain bass. They will, it's going to be cool. I mean, we're going to get some answers on a lot of stuff, and it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. But yeah, no, I'll get back to the note cards. Test me on another one. Give me another angler. Let's try it.
Let's do a tougher one. A newcomer.
Okay.
Nick Trim.
Not a lot of Nick, unfortunately. I mean, of course, he's the reigning and defending Bass Nation national champion, taking a step away from his job. His contracting, he's a sales guy, a contracting company, but I don't have a lot of like behind the scenes of Nick.
No, dude, I think that was still good. He's fresh on the scene.
Yeah, well, I mean, at this point, I haven't actually physically met him. I've talked to him in a podcast, but that's about it.
Justin Hamner.
Justin Hamner's a 4-time classic qualifier, weighed in the biggest bass in the history of a Bass Live. Did that on Lake Fork. He is, of course, the 2024 Bassmaster Classic champion and a member of the Bassmaster Century Club.
As we go back to the land of old school moping, or is it new school moping?
Well, we'll see.
What about the snow leopard himself, Gussie? Give me it. Hit it.
Oh, Gussie, 6-time classic qualifier, 2-time Bassmaster winner, won an Elite Series event, won the 2023 Bassmaster Classic.
Nailed it. Right.
Not going to be in the Classic this year. It's going to be weird. I mean, he's won every event that's been there.
I know. Dang.
Wild. But dude, that Classic's going to be very intriguing, because to me, you got like, this is forward facing Sonar was around when he did that, but not to the extent that it is. They're going to be able to use it. I mean, you got some really, I mean, it's going to be interesting, because the negative about a Classic in Knoxville, it's the best Classic to attend.
Yeah.
Everything's right near each other, but it's always kind of, the fishing's a little suspect, and guys run out of fish. I predict that they won't this time because of that technology. So we went a whole podcast and hardly talked about forward-facing sonar till now. That's some kind of record.
That is record. That's a record. Give me 2 sneaky picks, because like, I'm in an extremely competitive Bassmaster fantasy league. I want 2 sneaky picks that I potentially may have not.
For the Classic?
No. For G-ville coming up here.
It's already happened, bro. By the time this podcast comes out. So that's, I mean...
They just need to know that you're not, maybe you give me really bad picks.
No, they will be bad.
Give me some inside baseball stuff.
I mean, I'm going to go low hanging fruit. If you want to go for that event, Tucker Smith, I mean, you're going to want to keep an eye on him. I think, and I'm going to go more low hanging fruit, and I think they're both going to have great events. I've never seen someone happier than when the coin flip made Guntersville with no forward-facing sonar, and I'm going to give you a Jordan Lee. I mean, those are 2 low-hanging fruit, but I think we'll find out. I mean, dude, this is pretty extreme. Like, mental is going to be a big thing. Like, pre-fish, for the most part, it's going to matter, but they couldn't pre-fish that much because half the freaking lake's frozen. Like, you got guys, and that's going to – I always find with the colder events, with the tougher events in general, a lot of times that leans towards some of the veterans, because they've had tough events. They don't get caught in the dock talk. They don't get caught in the, damn, and this is the worst conditions. Why are they making us fish in this? But to me, that's also what makes me want to see it.
Oh, I love every set. I hope I know this is coming out after it happened, but I love every second of it. Like the adversity with the weather mixed with no FFS mixed with first event of the year. Like it's awesome. I love it. I love every second of it. As a fan going to just watch this unfold, this is going to be an incredible tournament. Like, yeah. And I know this is already passed by the time they listen to this, but yeah, I'm excited to watch.
Yeah, it'll be great. I always want questions when I watch an event. Like when you watch the Super Bowl, when you watch whatever, you want questions. You want to see like, well, will this happen? Will that? We got so many questions to be answered. Yeah. Like you got conditions, you got no forward facing sonar, you got veterans that want to say, hey, we've been telling you all along. And you got rookies who are like, don't believe what they've been telling you all along. Like it's so good. It's very good. It's very good. So I'm excited about it. Let's hope it didn't suck. We'll cut this part of the podcast out. If those two guys caught nothing and the tournament sucked, this podcast will have ended awkwardly a few minutes before.
You bleep their names.
Yeah, I'm good at that. The problem with beeping their names is here's what happened. I beeped their names, and then people just started guessing other people that weren't even involved. And I'm like, oh my God, by beeping their names, I tried to, keep it under control and let the battle stay in the water. And now everybody's an asshole. Like that's literally how it worked out. But
I can't win. I can't win.
But the good news is you are not an asshole or haven't been yet. I'm sure it'll come out sooner or later.
Give it time.
Yeah. Thanks, dude.
Yeah.
The always entertaining Sam Soie. I hope you enjoyed that conversation as much as I did. If you're not following his content already, you need to. It's great stuff. So check him out on YouTube. Also, check out a podcast that he co-hosts called Pass the Bar. Very entertaining. Good stuff. You will thank me for it. However, Sam Soie is probably not thanking me for the fantasy picks I give him because I believe they finished 83rd and 76. Serves you right, Sam Soie, for trying to get insider information. Stop doing that and pay off your debts. Go fishing with that Barbie pole. You owe it to your boys. I got to catch a flight, but before I do, want to remind you, Mercer in the Morning will be back in your life Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I know we had trouble getting them up on YouTube last week. We believe we've got that all fixed. You'll be able to see it on YouTube each day before takeoff, about an hour before Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Mercer in the Morning. Thank you for watching this. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Do all those things that help stroke the algorithm. And before I leave you, I want to remind you, everybody is fighting a battle. Just because you can't see it doesn't mean it's not happening. Spread happiness, spread kindness. It's contagious, and it makes the world a better place. I thank you for spending time with me. You made it. It was a long one. Until next, hey, if you're in the Lake Martin area, come on out and say hello. Tell me you're a humper. I love meeting you guys. Until next time, enjoy being. And as always, Bob Cobb, take it away.
Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe because Bob Cobb of the Bassmasters told you to. You hear?